love skateboarding.
Yep, Rusty Bearings with JP. It's been a couple laps around the world before we could get this one going, but it's here.
Here we go.
Yeah, dude. So what's been happening with you?
A lot, you know. I live 2, 3 lives sometimes
Huh.
on the
Dude,
road
for
working.
for clarity, what do you do for work? Because you're all literally all over the globe, like week to week, right? Is it
Yeah,
like
broadcast technician and camera op. I do a lot of things with television, live television,
what kind of
events,
events or shows or whatnot?
sporting events lately.
Ah,
But
yeah.
things might have evolved. I was asked to work Coachella because they do
Ah,
a live stream now, and all these big festivals doing live streams now. So I've been invited to do a few things, but I've been with WWE almost 20 years, so it's hard to take. It's I can take off work anytime I want. I'm freelance, but it's hard to adjust myself to something else. Like Coachella would be, it was offered to me last Coachella, but it would be 27 days gone from home,
oh wow, that's a long
and
time, right?
yeah, that was the deal breaker. The
Yeah.
money would be better, but I was just like, my family's not used to that yet. And then I forgot to even ask my wife about it at the time and talked about it like months later. I was like, oh, by the way, I could have done this. And she seemed to be like, oh, yeah, that would have been cool. But I thought it was too long to be gone
Yeah,
from
that's
home.
a month away from the little ones and the misses.
But
That's a long time.
the deal is, in the kind of job I work, is you take off for a long time too. So I'll have, if I did something like that, I would be 20 days off probably right after. I would just make sure I'm off at home for 20 days with the kids to balance it out,
Yeah,
you know.
that makes
And
sense.
that's, I just was in Saudi Arabia for a week, and then I'm home for 10 days. I'm off, and I've been with them for 10 days. I leave Thursday, but
Mm,
it'll
where,
be about 9 or 10 days by the time I leave that I've been off. So I balance it out, you know.
so I don't know much about WWE, but after doing that for so many years, what's been like the best event that you guys have worked? Like just, and I don't even know how to define best necessarily, but what's like the most memorable?
Well, first of all, people think I'm like a fan or a WWE guy or a wrestling guy, and I'm not. Um, I I worked for them for 14 years. I worked in the catering department.
Oh,
The catering company I worked for, they got sacked. Their contract ended. They ran on 3 year contracts, and finally they didn't renew their contract after 14 years.
man.
And then I made a lot of friends in 14 years with the TV department and every department. And a guy said on our last day, he said, you know, if you need a reference or you need anything, you know, give us a call. And I was like, well, I've thought about doing other things in your show, and I never thought about working in cameras or broadcast. Even though I was interested, I just didn't think I was qualified. And I was aiming to be a set carp. You know, you build the set, you put together stages,
Oh wow.
which is still interesting to me. I like to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I thought, if I'm a jack of all trades, I'll survive this world, right? So I've learned a lot of trades in my life. So anyway, I was aiming to be a set carp. After we got let go, they contacted me and asked me to go to Saudi Arabia as a freelance caterer, which I had done before. You're basically, you oversee the local caterers in Saudi Arabia, and you have a chef, and you coordinate things with all the talent and the owners and the CEOs, and you make sure they get their filet mignon plates. And I'm basically like the crew chief for a small catering crew.
Yeah.
I do the money, the receipts. I help in the kitchen. I roll up my sleeves. I can cook too. So I became buddies with the guys in the TV truck and the broadcast truck. Like, very accidentally. We're not even the same kind of people. They're like golfers and kind of jocks, and I'm a skateboarder. They make fun of me sometimes, and it got to where, oh, in this world, if people are making fun of you, they like you. If
Yep.
they're not talking to you at all, then they don't. But when the director of the show constantly digging on me, Then, well, later down the road, his son is a skateboarder. His son went to Woodward. He was actually just trying to be my friend the whole time. But I was
Yeah.
like, for years, like, does this guy hate me? Because he'd just make fun of me for being a skateboarder. And where was I? So they accepted me in the TV department. They reached out to me and said, we will take you in as a broadcast utility. And I'm like, I don't know anything about that. Well, it turned out I knew them for so long that they knew my stories about filming skateboarding
Oh.
and editing videos and they knew that I could point a camera and I could plug in things and network and make things work. And I had my laptop out with skate videos from time to time, and you get to know the guys on the crew, and I think they knew that I could do it more than I knew. So they gave me a shot, and now I'm 5 years in the broadcast department, and I'm a lead of a crew of 8 guys, and
Oh, right on.
we go in the morning and we put in the infrastructure for the show, which basically we wire up fiber optics from the TV truck to every camera in the building and every sound technician spot. So there's basically mics are like cameras, but they capture sound. So we have fiber going into the field for it. Also returns.
Yep.
We have miles of fiber going into the field from the TV truck for all different kinds of things,
Yeah.
volumes of communications and vision, video.
Yep. And you guys got to be on site in case shit goes haywire during the broadcast,
Oh,
I would imagine, right?
and
Just
it does, and that's how I learned, and that's how
yeah.
I became more of a technician or engineer
Yep.
from fires. I'm fire watch if nothing else. I operate camera. On the camera operating schedule, it's mostly like old timers that have done sports and NBA, NFL, all the acronyms in the alphabet. They know everybody out there. And when you land a job with WWE, it's all year round. You don't have to sit around and wait between seasons. They
Yeah, good point.
constantly go. They only take off like Christmas and 4th of July.
Oh yeah, good point. Huh.
So I work with a bunch of old camera guys that are actually really cool and supportive and giving me knowledge that I should listen to more. It rings bells later, things that this or that guy said. I'll come across a situation. It's like, that's what he was talking about. You know, um, just being prepared, checking all your equipment before the show goes live. And I don't know, I'm just babbling on, but
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of different positions. I also operate robo cameras, and I build them. I set them up, hang them from trusses. That kind of started from being the truss cam guy because I'm not afraid of heights. I've always lived for adventure. So when they're like,
Yep.
who wants to go up in a scissor lift or a boom lift up 180 feet up in the ceiling of the arena and hang cameras,
You're the
I'm
guy.
like, well, I thought I was like the last guy they'd pick, but they're like, JP, all right. And I really didn't know what I was doing at first. And now 5 years later, I'm teaching other guys.
Oh,
I'm
that's cool.
trying to teach other guys how to hang and network truss cams. We do a lot of truss cams and robos up in the ceilings and in the lighting trusses and in different positions. I've learned a lot about wrestling or this show. If it is wrestling, it's like a spandex rodeo, right? I mean, it's a circus, but again, not a wrestling fan, but I've learned a lot, and every show's different. Camera positions change, and our show is very technical. And from doing that as my first TV show, now I've been working some local blues games, and I worked a Billikens game this
Oh,
winter.
Oh, no way.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, and that stuff is like, no disrespect to them, but it's like 5 cameras,
It's got to be
and
easier, right? Just less movement and think
uh,
follow the puck, follow the
it's
player.
you set up you set up 5 cameras in the morning, and then set up a hammock, find a place to set up a hammock for the rest of the day,
Right.
and then show. Well, I didn't operate camera on. You do have to be really good to follow the puck. I didn't operate camera on the
Yeah.
NHL game. I was just a TV truck technician. So I just wired everything up, and then I was a camera assistant during the game. Basically, when you're working around the TV truck and you're wiring stuff up, and you're a utility or a technician, A2, that would be an audio guy. They throw you a bone during the show if they're a cameraman down. They're like, hey, we'll pay you this. We'll give you a bump in rate if you want to operate camera today.
Oh wow.
And that's how you kind of like climb the ladder. Then they see how you are, and if you're not nervous. The first time I operated camera, I was pretty nervous, but I pulled it off, and they said, "Great job." And now when I'm doing robos, I'm sitting like I am now, just kind of like, I feel really comfortable on robos and on handheld. And it is so. Longer story short, I learned a lot of what I'm doing from skateboarding.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that early, and that's pretty
And
freaking interesting that you said that.
And I didn't know that when I started doing it. I didn't know that at all. But I also, in skateboarding, I was always interested in filmmaking and photography. I had a VHS camera when I was 12 years old. For Christmas, I begged my parents for a VHS over the shoulder handheld, which I
Nice.
was
Hey,
always.
actually, where did you grow up in the St.
All
Louis
right,
area? I don't even know.
if you guys want to start from the beginning,
Yeah, please.
we jumped straight into the.
No, it's cool. That stuff was interesting just because it
Making
takes you,
paychecks today.
dude. If you follow your Instagram account, it's like freaking National Geographic. Like you're all over the world, dude. It's great.
It is
Um,
very, yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, grew up right across the railroad tracks from Matt,
Yep.
but
Oh,
we
really?
didn't really know each other.
Maryland Heights zone around there.
I think we're the
Mhm.
same age. I was born in '76, graduated high school in '95.
I'm a year ahead of you in school. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay, so
75, 94.
um, I remember the first time I met Matt at that McDonald's spot. Not a
Mhm.
spot to you guys, but maybe a spot to me and Matt. It's not a spot to anybody that doesn't live in Maryland Heights or something, but that
Yeah.
like ledge and gap behind a McDonald's. And we had parking curbs going down the gap for a while in
Yeah.
the mid 90s. And me and Def Brian used to skate there a lot because it was like, it wasn't a great spot, but you wouldn't get kicked out and you didn't have to drive far. But
Yeah.
we did get kicked
Was it
out.
like in an abandoned McDonald's and people just kind of?
No, the McDonald's was going, and we did probably get kicked out by the management sometimes. And
Yeah.
but
I
it,
recall some kickouts.
or the restaurant up in the the upper part.
Yeah.
I broke my toe there, real bad. That was the beginning of the end of an era for me. But let's go back to the beginning.
Yep.
Grew up in Maryland Heights,
Yep.
the neighborhood right across the street from Pattonville High School.
Okay.
And Chatham Drive and the cul-de-sac, and there was a hill coming down to my house, cul-de-sac, and then a hill going away from my house. So we would bomb that hill. That became the spot later on. But growing up, I wasn't into sports. I was they call it a dandelion picker in the field. If I was in,
Yeah.
I mean, I came from a very big sports family, but I was more like watching reruns of Three Stooges and while they were watching the World Series. And I liked big wheels and bikes and dirt bikes and motorcycles interested me. Not that I really had access to them. But anything extreme, I guess, and playing in the woods and swinging from rope swings and building tree houses. And I definitely saw kids skating down the street in the 80s. I must have been 8 years old. And I kind of figured out who they were later, way later in life, more closer to now. But like gangs of older kids, like,
Any idea who they were? Like,
I kind of know who they were.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So kind of knew I wanted to, I guess, be a skateboarder or a surfer, but I didn't even know what that was. And I drew pictures of like a guy skating down the street with I remember an Ocean Pacific shirt because
Nice.
I thought Ocean Pacific was like cool skateboard wear. I thought it was the most cutting edge skateboarding product I knew of as a kid. You know,
Yep.
It was like Ocean Pacific. If you had that, you're from the beach and you surf probably, or you skate. So, and um, I learned later, like, this is how I really knew about skateboarding. It was a trip to California in 1985. My dad's older sister lived in Escondido
Oh,
because she
wow.
had a husband that was in the Navy. And so we took our first family vacation. My first time on an airplane. We flew to San Diego, rented a car, showed up at my Aunt Janet's house in the middle of the night. And she had a son that was probably like 10 years older than me. I'm 9 at the time. It's 1985. And he was really cool into dirt biking and everything. And he took me around San Diego, and we saw Back to the Future was out that summer.
Oh, no way.
And
Wow.
a lot of people. I've even seen like Tony Hawk interviews where he's like, "Are you one of those people that got into skating from Back to the Future?" Because there is like a lot of people, I guess, and I didn't
Hey,
really know that.
you're talking to one of them for sure. I was explaining that to
Yeah,
my wife when it was on reruns just a few days ago, actually.
Yeah, the pop
I
up to the hand. That
Yeah.
was
yeah,
it, dude.
Skitching on the
That was it.
exactly,
car, all of it. Yeah,
exactly. The
For me,
pop
it
up
was
to
the
the
pop up
hand.
to the hand
Me
because I
too.
maybe had seen sketching as a kid or something somewhere else, but
The
the pop up
well,
to the hand, I guess I'd never seen or something.
the sketching, I don't know. I knew that that was like not going to happen because I'm a kid, but the pop up to the hand was something I could learn that, that
yeah.
was something I could do. And I did. And it was the first thing I ever learned, of course. And then I saw Lance Mountain do it running and jump back on it. And I combined the two, and we would run across from parking lot to parking lot across grass gaps. And I called it a Lance Mountain. Is that
So
even what it's called? I
I
don't
was
know.
getting ready to
I
ask
don't
you guys
know.
that because that's exactly what we used to call it. And I didn't
Did
know
you?
that.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome. The
swear to
Lance
God.
Mountain.
Yeah, do a Lance
Yeah,
Mountain. I
it might
swear
have
to
bled
God.
over. It might have bled
That's
over from
awesome.
neighborhood to neighborhood.
Maybe it was just a regional thing, but yeah, that's
That's
straight up what we called it.
either way,
So,
that's rad. That's so cool.
so yeah, that summer trip, there was a lot of things in skateboarding. 1985 in LA, and I wasn't a skateboarder yet. I was just a 9-year-old. But also, I didn't know this till later when I was living in California. But my cousin took me to the beach in Oceanside, and we were at the amphitheater that has the concrete stage where they used to have contests in the
For
80s.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Nodis, I guess, did the first handrail that anybody ever knows of. And it's tiny. It's like a tiny 3-stair, and the handrail's tiny, and
Yep.
it's like super steep. You guys might know it. It's in the Nodis
Yeah,
on
yeah. I
video
think does
documentary.
he
If you watch,
actually do it at that contest or the first attempt or
he
something?
tried it. I don't
Yeah.
think he landed it, or he landed it and then did a push land, where he landed and he pushed real quick. It, I know it's because I'm a skate nerd. It's in the 411 on video Nodis documentary. Um, and they
Did you
talk
see
about that.
skaters there though
So
when you
yeah,
went to the amphitheater?
so yes, my cousin takes me there, and we're sitting there on the bench, and I'm a little kid, and my dad was even there, and my whole family, and we're just watching skateboarders, and they are ollieing up the stage and then doing like bonelesses and tricks off of it and 360 bonelesses. I
Hmm.
didn't know that at the time. I remember us talking about what they were doing, and my dad might have said it. I kind of remember my dad saying it, that they were grabbing their boards and jumping up.
Hmm.
Okay, we thought that's how they were getting up the stage, and everything they did. They were grabbing their boards with their hands in order to do what they were doing. Was our conclusion. So years later, I know that they were pros, and in my head, it looks like Christian Asoy and Nodis, but who knows who? I
Sure.
mean, it was Tommy Guerrero. They weren't down in San Diego, but who was? I mean, Christian Asoy could have been Nodis, maybe. The Southern California guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike McGill. I don't know if
Yeah.
he was ollieing
Yeah.
up stages. It was a very,
If you
and I
remember
don't know if
the
that spot's
if
still there today. I think
if
it
you
is.
would you remember the timing of like
It
to the
was
month like when you
Well,
went there?
I could, and I
Because
looked that up
then you
recently.
could look at the contest. I'm sure the contest date is findable.
Right. I
Like
don't know
maybe
if it
you
was a
were there
contest.
like within like a few days of it and you
Wonder if it
saw
was a contest or just that's just where
there
they
was
skated.
they've always had like in
So here's how I looked up the
85,
time.
80, 86 there was a pro street contest there.
I could probably
So
nail it down better with my mom's pictures, photographs, and memory.
yeah,
But I
but
did
that might be a bit like
what I did on my
legitimate.
own.
Like those dudes were around for that or
What
whatever,
I
you
did
know?
on my own is I just looked up when Back to the Future was in theaters,
Oh,
and that's basically back then. It was the whole summer. So,
Yeah, I remember doing that in the past like 10 years. Like, when did that? Because, you know, the internet will tell you, and I was like, damn, like,
what else did we do on
because
that?
it definitely was a big influence. So,
So yeah, my
mm,
cousin, he was he still is a cool guy. We don't talk that much anymore. He now is a long distance cyclist, and he's 60 something. And he we went surfing and did a lot of fun stuff, and came back from California. And around that time, me and my neighbor buddies, I had a little crew of friends. We were like the Stranger Things kids, and like BMXing around, and we had woods, and we had weird things in the woods and imaginations, and we're in our little Stranger Things gang, right? But we found banana boards in a trash can. My neighbor, right
oh, well.
next door, right at the end of her, it was almost, and this is an afterthought, but like they left them visible outside the garbage for us, you know?
I
I
see.
think
They knew
that's,
you guys were playing throughout the neighborhoods. They were like,
yeah,
"Yeah, these
because
kids will take them."
we saw them from far away and we ran towards them and fought over them as we always did for things like that. And we had banana boards, and they were yellow and blue. There were two or three of them. And we went to Pattonville High School, and the back then Pattonville was like a playground to the kids in my neighborhood. We could go do anything all over the grounds. You know, we snow sledded all the time in the snow, and we played on the baseball fields and football fields, and there's steep hills between the fields, and we would BMX down them, and so there's blacktop pathways between the fields too that all go down and kind of snake around. So
Okay.
we took the this is my first like skateboarding. We took the banana boards up there. I think it was my idea. The little kids in my neighborhood, and we were probably 9 or 10, and I think we were less than 10 for sure. We were more like 9, and maybe even 8. Anyway, we got bloodied up,
Wreck,
but
just
we
trying to go down the hill.
yeah, just butt bombing.
Yeah.
And then in my memory, suddenly a few months or a year goes by, and it's a lot of BMXing, and skateboarding kind of gets forgotten. But then suddenly skateboarding is like hot, and all the kids in my neighborhood had pro completes from Future Skate
Ah,
and stories about Future Skate and Don Early. I knew about Don Early before I even saw the guy. I never even went to Future Skate very much. My mom never took me there. My mom wouldn't take me to a skate shop. I went with
which future skate are we speaking of? The one that was in
the
St.
I only
Charles?
went to two. The one that was in a strip mall in St. Charles, and like I'm a kid at the time, but I feel like it was in like where Michaels and not Michaels. That's too far out.
There was
Where
the location. It was in Hawks Nest Plaza. It's like right off the
yeah,
freeway.
on the if you're going west left side on the south side of the
Yes,
highway. Yeah, it
correct.
was that one. That was the
Yep.
first one. And I feel like Don Early was wearing like a Vietnam like green. Did he wear stuff like an army jacket?
I
Or
don't know.
he reminded me
kind
of
of
a guy
vaguely
that
have
just
that
got
memory of
he
him doing
reminded me
that,
of a guy that just came home from Vietnam. You know, and that's just maybe my how I perceive things.
Sure.
And my mom never took me to Future Skate, but my my buddy that really got me into skating in my neighborhood, Tony Young, and he was more spastic than me. He taught me how to be spastic. But he could do early grabs. Like he had a launch ramp, and his dad built a quarter pipe, and his driveway was a skate park for us every day. And I have a an answer for Matt about a thing that you mentioned maybe in the Tim Jameson interview. A guy
Oh,
that had some ramps on Ameling
yeah.
and Bennington on the
Yeah, that
corner, and an
big gray that big
big
gray quarter
old
pipe.
gray house that was a big old scary
It
house
was
and a
it
big
was kind
gray
of rad
quarter
though,
pipe. Big gray
because
quarter
they had
pipe,
that
right?
huge
So
driveway.
that guy's
Yeah.
name was Jason Miller,
All right.
And we always told people he was Chris Miller's cousin just to so we would be cool. So I hung out with that dude, but he couldn't really skate.
Yeah, I
And
kind of recall that.
we couldn't
Yeah.
skate either, but he was older than us. And so back to Tony Young, who lived right down the street from me, he was in Jason Miller's church together. They went
Okay.
to church and they were best friends at church and in a youth group. So they invited me to like lock-ins and parties and try to get me into it. But I would go for the fun, but my family wasn't very religious. They weren't anti-religious. They were like,
Sure.
go ahead and have fun. But anyway, that guy, his house burnt down, Jason Miller, on that corner.
Oh,
and
wow.
now it's a tiny little subdivision. His
Yeah.
skateboard melted. He quit skating and he gave the quarter pipe to Tony Young down the street from me.
No
Tony's
way.
dad lopped the top off and made it a launch ramp. This giant quarter pipe became
Because
a
it was
launch
really
ramp.
mellow.
Yeah, it was super
if I
mellow.
recall. Yeah.
So Jason quit skating after his house burnt down, and he was older than us, so he probably became a teenager and never really like after he gave us the ramp. I think he maybe came over and hung out with us, but he didn't really skate, and we were progressing, and he didn't really like.
Just wasn't interested, basically.
No, and things were progressing all around us.
Yeah.
Even in me and Tony's little world, we're like maybe 10. My dad gave me a Veriflex. Then that was for my birthday, like 10 years old. Then that was like not cool. And then all the kids in the neighborhood gave me Thrashers with covers ripped off and all their parts. Different kids in the neighborhood, I think, came through Tony. He knew some kids in the neighborhood that were older. And Tony gave me a flight deck that the tail was scraped off and some trackers. And that was my first like pro setup, but it was all hand-me-downs.
What board was
the
it?
Flight deck. Remember, it was like a jet. They called it the flight deck.
Was it a tracker
And it was,
board?
I don't even know. It was like
sounds familiar. I just can't picture it in my
picture
head.
of the inside of a cockpit.
Okay.
Like, and it was real wide and big hog shape.
Just full Frankenstein together from everybody.
To look it up.
Oh, and then also this kid, Chris Boyd, down on the street. The other kids were ahead because they already had pro stuff, and some of them were even younger than me. But this kid down the street gave me a cab, the Dragon Mini, with the bats all over it, and its tail was just, razor sharp. And I guess he gave it to me with some magazines and those were kind of my first boards, and they were horrible. And then the St. Blaise Carnival, that was a carnival every year in Maryland Heights, and I won $100 in bingo. And I must be 11 years old, and that was jackpot.
You're freaking rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom's friend heard about it.
$10 shy of a complete.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom's friend heard about it, and she took it from me. But she's like, I'll get it back to you. No, it was my mom's best friend, and she's like, you'll get it back tomorrow.
Okay.
You're just not going to run around the carnival with
so you don't buy $100 worth of cotton candy, basically.
Yeah. Smart move.
So the next day, I'd get my dad to take me to Skates Plus.
Oh.
That's when it was in Northwest Square.
Which was behind Northwest Plaza, right?
Yeah. And then Dieter Pingle, DJ DP, the DJ Double Pin, that's what he calls himself. The skate DJ. Lately, he's been doing a lot of contests and things. I see him doing a lot of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Dieter worked at Skates Plus, and he put together my first complete. Well, there was a problem. I was a little light on the cash.
Yep.
So I only got new trucks, new wheels, and he re-gripped my flight deck.
Oh, so
which I didn't love it. I didn't love it, but it was better. I had Venture salt and pepper trucks. That's what they call them. And Powell Mini Rats, pink. And
nice.
A couple months later, then I got the Ray Barbie. That was my official brand new skateboard was the Ray Barbie deck of cards.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got that and it was set up, it seemed like things were already going popsicle though. I was always a little bit behind. And then Skates Plus moved to down the Rock Road. And by that time, things were big pants, popsicle boards,
Yep.
and I had first day of 7th grade. So I don't really like. I had my neighborhood skate crew, but we were all just a bunch of dorks, man. Like we were just my neighborhood skate crew, and we didn't know much. I had, we had. Do you guys remember Grandpa Pigeons? I hate to mention
Sure.
Grandpa
On the
Pigeons
Rock
because
Road.
No, it's
makes
fucking
me
rad.
sound old, but
Yeah,
what am
yeah.
I
I?
know I'll put
Yeah,
a
man.
wrench
It
in
was
it.
down. It was down the Rock Road for sure.
Well, that's almost got nothing to do with what I was going to say, but I
I
think
don't
they
think it's
sold them there.
that's not the first time Grandpa Pigeon's been brought up on this
No, I
podcast.
think they
Yeah,
sold
yeah. Tim
skateboards there.
Jameson
Yeah,
said he worked there. I think. Didn't he say he
yeah.
worked there?
Or he said his
Um,
family like went to town
Yeah.
once a week to Grandpa Pigeons,
I
basically.
worked there for like one day in high school, just one day.
Place was
I,
so sick.
it was too boring. That wasn't even my point though. But I think they sold these B-roll skate videos. It was either Grandpa Pigeons, Kmart, or
Oh
Venture.
yeah, Kmart had
And
them
on the
for sure,
rack,
and
and they had these
Venture.
B-roll skate. They must have been all the crappy footage from whatever. I think it had Hosoi bombing hills and alley and like
Totally. It
grass
was called
gaps.
like Skateboard Superstars or
Yeah,
something,
something like
and
yeah. So
there were a couple of them. And Curb
Tony's
Dogs.
mom,
I got Curb Dogs.
Tony's mom bought him those generic skate videos, and that's all we had in my little neighborhood. I had Joe and Chris Height. There were two brothers that lived down the street who I pushed to get into skateboarding because we needed more skateboarders in
Yeah.
my crew. I had a guy named Mike Autry who moved into our neighborhood from like more like
Sorry,
Rittner or
Curb Dogs.
we
Still
always
have
can
it.
nice. So we had like a
Sorry to
little
interrupt.
crew and we BMX'd in the winter. And I had an imagination where we were like, we're BMXers in the winter and we're skateboarders in the summer.
Nice.
And I think I tried to make a skate video where I didn't know what I was doing. I thought that you had to play the music for the skate video on a stereo with a cassette tape while you're filming. And we went up to the parking lot where I always skated. And I just asked my friend Chris Height, I was like, all right, so grind that I-beam. They had an I-beam in the parking lot across from 7-Eleven. We skated in this parking lot all the time. Sarah's Pizza just burnt down.
Mm.
But we skated in that parking lot all the time. I learned to do nose slides and board slides on curbs there. So anyway, Chris couldn't do anything, and I'm just like expecting him to make a skate video in front of me, and we didn't know anything. So skateboarding that was like that until first day of 7th grade. The first day of 7th grade, that's when I met my real skate crew for the future, which all the way to this day was Deaf Brian Warner.
Oh wow, you guys went to school
And
together?
yeah, for first day of 7th grade. So he went to Central Institute for the Deaf through till 6th grade. Then he just happened to be the first year for a program where hearing impaired kids could go to regular school. And the state would pay for an interpreter to go to school with him and sign for him in class and go to every class with him.
No
And
way.
That's sick.
he
That's
just
cool.
happened to be in it
Very
started in
first year.
7th grade and it was the first year and you could start in 7th grade and he was in 7th grade. He was like the first kid to do it. He got offered to get surgery to become hearing many times for free because they were also he lived in the time, I mean, he's still alive, sorry, but I mean, he grew up in the time of cochlear implants.
Yep.
And he's like, no, I'm cool. This is the way I am. I like it. He's not interested, but that's not, he got I think it was his mom, like really diving into what Missouri can give him and what the Fed can give him for
Yep.
his hearing impairness. Because he always had like free glasses, free hearing aids, a free TTY machine to talk on the phone, a closed caption machine it used to hook it up to your TV before we had flat screens and smart TVs. You had to hook up this machine to your TV and it would make out the words and zip them across the bottom
Basically
of the screen.
closed captioning.
Oh,
Closed
wow.
caption
TV.
machine.
Yeah.
He would carry it with him. He'd come into my house and spend the night and bring his he would have like a suitcase. He'd have his phone and his closed caption machine.
Dude,
so he could hook it up to my
little
TV.
Little sidebar, the freaking, what was the TTY machine? Was that what you said?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember later in life when we were in our 20s, like him calling me
talking to
on
me.
that with a lady interpreting it, but we were
Yeah,
talking about our Friday night, and it was kind of wild having some little
yeah.
old lady spit back like, "I'm hungover. I tried hooking
That's
up with
funny.
this
Yeah.
chick." It was like, whoa.
It's funny. So
Yeah.
many people from our life talk about the same thing
Oh,
because
really?
that was like entertainment before YouTube. He was
For
just like,
sure. Yeah, I was just listening. Like he's telling me he's trying to hook up with some chick, and I got some lady like reading it back to me. I'm like,
uh,
okay.
he's a storyteller. That's just all stories too. None of that is even like purely fabricated. Just whatever he's thinking of at the time. Blah 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 blah. Just he's
So
got
awesome.
imagination. So first day of school, seventh grade, I could tell he skated. He had the tight rolled pants and lace saver shoes, and more skateboarder than me. Definitely, like that dude skates more than me. I want to be a skateboarder, but that dude really skates probably. And the teacher says this kid's hearing impaired. Would anybody like to show him around? We got some new kids in school, and this is one of them. And me and this kid Ryan, and I didn't know Ryan that well later. He was a skateboarder at the time, but I guess he didn't stick with it. There's a lot of people on this that just never stuck with it,
Sure, of
around me.
course.
But and I'm sure you guys have a million kids like that too growing up. And here we are still hanging skateboards on our wall in the basement, about to be 50 years old. Um, that's what keeps me young, right? Where was I? So first day of school, and I'm like, he remembers this too. First thing I said is like, we could skip lunch and go play basketball. It's more fun. And he's like, yeah. And when I think we just hung out in the gym, and he told me about skateboard tricks that he could do. He's like, I could kick flip, I could 360 flip, and I lost me at 360 flip, dude. What's that? Like so. Then I don't know. Then around then, like Skates Plus moved down the Rock Road,
Yep.
and skateboarding became more gritty, like Big Brother and Big Pants. And down the Rock Road, there was the Rittner crew, and it was like the older kids, like I don't know if you know any of these names, but Bill Maurer
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Joel
remember
Burke.
Bill.
Sure.
Yeah,
Joel
yeah.
Burke was a ripper, and those guys
Oh
had
yeah.
car. I mean, I might be jumping ahead pretty far, but it was like
It's all
around then.
good.
In eighth grade, they're like in ninth or 10th grade, and we're
Yeah.
in seventh and eighth. But we're hanging out at Skates Plus
Yeah.
with thrift store clothes on and trying to skate. I'm just learning to ollie and kickflip, and these guys are ollieing what they call the
Those dudes
Skates
were
Plus gap.
really good.
Yeah. At
Yeah,
that
Oh
time,
yeah,
those dudes
man.
were
Very good.
they're
ripping.
skating
Yeah.
like things just like blacktop parking lots that now I think back they're falling apart and they're gravel, but
Yeah.
they knew the
I
spot.
remember, I can't remember which Skates Plus location it was. It had like a really good curb and like manual pad
Oh,
right right
that
behind it.
was
That
the
was one
pre.
by Northwest Plaza, right?
Yeah, that's the first one for me. I guess there was one before that that's more like fluorescent, but I never went
Hmm.
to that one. But the middle
Yeah,
one
I
is
think it was on Lindbergh
I
originally, maybe.
guilty of stopping by there every once in a while and looking at that curb maybe once every 10 years at this point. It used to be because
I do stuff like that if I'm
that
over there
curb
visiting my mom stuff.
that curb was the manual pad, but also it was the half flip to tail scrape across like a Rodney Mullen. I
Oh,
don't think
wow.
anybody really. Well, they were more just like you could ollie to power slide across.
Yep.
If you were skilled enough, you could do the Rodney Mullen across. But the kids at Skates Plus were doing like nose blunt slides across, like a
Dude, yeah.
skinny way across the thing, and mind blowing things at the time that I didn't know. I was still doing slappy nose slide and slappy nose slide to fakie, and then I find out you can jump your nose slide up into a crooked grind, and once I barely learned that, then it wasn't cool to slappy anymore. So I was always a little bit behind, especially in street skating. Like
Yeah. But that crew was pretty far ahead too at the same time, like especially like
yeah,
that Skates Plus era that you're talking about on the Rock Road. That's definitely where I remember meeting Brian Warner as well as yourself for the first time. Just like
yeah,
the shop was on its tail end, like literally five boards on the wall, like the end was near,
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that was a
You
fun
remember
time.
the ferrets running around in there.
Dude, very,
I
very
bought
pungent smell.
I
Yes.
bought 2 ferrets from him. I think I traded him a skateboard too and some money, and then my mom hated him, and then he ended up taking him back. I think I went up there and I had to beg him to take him back, and then he actually bought him back for me because Rob was pretty fair, I guess. Like, and he was a nice guy. I never skated with Rob. I heard that he was Rob Furman. Sorry, I didn't say his last name.
Yeah, that's all good.
He was the owner of Skates Plus, Rob Furman, and I heard that like at the Overland ditch, the I-70 ditch, he could do like all the combos.
Oh, he was
The
like skating over there and stuff.
yeah, and that was one of the things Brian Werner told me like about Rob. He's like he's a technical combo master on the ditch to curb, and never really got to see that, but he's such a nice guy. Like he would hook it up. I never like walked away unsatisfied from his shop. I remember in my first popsicle like new school shape that I really liked was a Neil Hendricks New Deal with the something about the middle ply was V cut or extra strong. I don't know, and it was really cool. It had thunder trucks and small wheels and.
All right. Let
So
me ask
where
you
are we?
this. So you guys are at Skates Plus. I remember seeing you guys around that era, and then fast forward, like you're pretty much like 17 or 18, and you guys start popping back up again. But you
Yeah,
weren't.
so
Where were you at then?
that's where I was digressing into actually. So, um, you know, part when you're 17 and you're 16, 17, and parties and other things become more important.
Sure.
And I had a hiatus from skateboarding. I treated the skateboard like a yo-yo for a little while after that. Like it was just something in the trunk of the car to get out every once in a while.
Yeah.
And um, and through like later years of high school, I was like trying to find, I guess, different groups because skateboarding. I had 3 friends at high school that skated. Is
Well,
Def
dude, that
Brian,
was a low period in skateboarding too. There was
yeah,
hardly anybody really doing it.
Brian Mudd.
Mhm.
You guys probably remember that name.
No.
Um, he was a ripper, and he was always with Brian Werner when they'd show up to Altered. Um, and he kind of had his like dramatic problems, but he was always a ripper, and he did some cutting edge stuff. Like I don't like to say cutting edge, but he did some rad stuff. I saw him do a 180. Do you remember when the Southwest Bank had the like from the parking lot manual pad and then off the 3 stair at the bank at Southwest? It's now a Walgreens, Southwest and Kings Highway.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah,
used
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah. Dude,
we
I
used
do
to
remember that.
I used to
Yeah.
love that spot because I was a manual guy. If we were street skating, I wasn't a great ledge guy, but I could manual really
And
far
then it
and
went,
maybe
if
get
you
it, shove it
chose
out or
to,
something.
you could go off the steps. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I liked manualing off the steps there. That
Yeah.
was and I seen Brian Mudd do a 180 nose grind first try on a 3 stair handrail.
Oh.
Like not even I think he jumped up into a manual, lost his manual, and then he was like, "Screw it, I'm gonna do a 180 nose grind down this rail just because I'm going down the stairs." And he was spontaneous. He was really good like that. And so that was I had 3 friends in high school that skated, and Jason Carr, who's now he's like he doesn't skate anymore, but he's in a band, Beastie Boys cover band, My Posse in Full Effect. That's what
Oh, no
he's
way.
in. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny.
wow.
He's a funny guy. I run into him every once in a while. So anyway, so skateboarding hiatus goes
Yep.
on, but I still ran into Brian Werner from time to time, and we still had our skate crew, and he's still trying to pull me back in. And I did some high school skating. A buddy, Ryan Burkhart, one of Brian Werner's really good friends from his neighborhood. They lived in more like St. John Overland area, and his parents had ramps all over in the driveway. And I learned more transition stuff from that. I never really skated a really good quarter pipe.
Yeah.
And I started getting better at, not keeping up with the ledge guys, but launch ramps, gaps, and I was interested in doing ramp tricks, although I never really had a ramp
Well,
to.
there was not a lot of ramps around
Yeah,
St. Louis at that point. Like it was
yeah.
pretty low
Oh,
tide for transition, you know?
let's put Ryan Burkhart's ramps on pause for a minute to
Yep.
answer another Matt Mitten question from back in the day in our neighborhood. Off Creefcore Mill Road, behind a house, on your way down towards Creefcore Park by Fred Weber, there was a nice mini ramp in a guy's backyard. And I think you've asked me about that in the past. No, yeah, maybe. It
Fred
was like
Weber.
it was like between Pattonville High School and Fred Weber. Fred Weber, if you're going down Creekcore Mill Road, behind this
Oh,
people's house,
yeah,
it was like a perfect little mini ramp that you would see.
yeah,
You would see it all the time driving by.
yeah.
So when Brian Werner and myself started becoming friends, he would get dropped off at my house by his parents. Oh, and I had like a bigger house, and my parents were more like, "Yeah, have your friends stay over." So he practically lived at my house. When our tween and teen years, he would stay at my house for a week sometimes, and he was very outgoing. If he saw a ramp, he's barging it and going in the guy's yard. So I showed him that ramp, and we just went in there and started skating it. And we didn't really know how to skate a ramp, but we were just skating it. And the guy came out, and his name was Mike, I think, and he kind of looked like, to me at the time, Christian Slater from Gleaming the
Thrashing
Cube,
or
Gleaming the Cube,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
and he said we could skate, and I tried to drop in, and I couldn't even pump, and Brian Werner was skating pretty good because he had skated a ramp before, and my friend Tony was there, and he couldn't skate it at all. We hadn't skated a ramp, but Brian Werner had. Anyway, that was the one time I skated that, and I thought you had asked me about that. So then, like to also throw in some things that we would do around my house. We had Nickelodeon Skate TV that taught us that
Oh,
taught me how to
yeah,
Oh
ollie.
yeah.
The
yeah.
I learned to ollie from the Gons, explaining to some kids in a hospital how the physics of the ollie works, and he like goes like this and like that with his hands, and I saw that and it like sunk into my brain. Before that, I was just
Sweet.
rolling off of. I could roll off of a four stair and just hang in there,
Yeah.
but I couldn't pop my tail and do anything. And then me and my buddy Tony went on a road trip to Springfield. My sister, I have an older sister, went to Springfield, Missouri State University or whatever it's called. And my parents would drop me off there sometimes. And we're skating a church on the campus, and it had a two stair. And I learned to ollie up it in one afternoon by
Nice.
ollieing up to truck smack, push on your nose, get up. And then I channeled the Gons what he had told me, and then I was able to get up there without smacking my truck by the end of the day. Then I brought it home, and I was ollieing off like a four stair and a five stair and a six stair, and we skated. Our crew liked to skate the covered staircases around Bridgeton and Maryland Heights. Like
Yeah.
that was our spots. Like around St. Charles Rock Road, every little shopping center has 4 to 5 to 6 covered staircases in a row in the rain in the winter, and that's what we skated all the time. And
Yeah. I remember a lot of those
you know,
around. Yeah, for sure. Especially the winter time. Freaking sweep out the salt and go at it, right?
I couldn't do a ton, but I learned to eventually from watching the better guys do it, like ollie up. If I could ollie up to four, that was like I considered it like a cool day, and nollie down the four or switch ollie down the four and or down the six and film the other guys kickflip the six. And I mostly ended up with a camera in my hand at
Oh, that's
the
rad.
end of every skate session. And I was always into. My parents gave me the family camera when I was a kid, and actually have some
What do you
pictures
got?
here somewhere from way back in the day. Maybe you're gonna have to remind me where I was before I jump back. Oh, Ryan
Ooh,
Burkhart. Okay, so how do pictures show up here?
yeah,
He's
pretty.
showing
This
pretty
is
Oh,
good.
that's pretty good.
me, Brian Werner, and Tony Young.
That's a
The two.
skateboard pillow, right?
This
I
is this is
remember.
my basement when I was a kid. You see the pool table in the background? I still have
Yeah,
that pool
I
table.
think.
It's in storage in my barn. But um, we would play pool if bad weather was bad, or we were sitting there like watching Nickelodeon skate TV right there. And then I had
That's awesome. I don't think that was a skateboard pillow, man. I think that was the pillow.
Oh, that's
no, yeah, it's not a skateboard pillow. I thought you were talking about the couch or something. I
I
didn't.
think
It
that's
wasn't
what it
me.
was. Yeah.
Um,
just a pillow.
Hocus Pocus
One
and
track mind.
Propaganda. Hocus
Yeah.
Pocus and Propaganda were on repeat.
Constant loop. Yeah.
Those are my first two skate videos that I owned. And for Hocus Pocus, Sal Barbier's part was the mind blowing one, like the best one. I almost don't. Matt Hensley's was great, but I always like Sal's the best. So he
Yeah.
did stuff that nobody's ever hardly done since, like ollie up a bench, board slide, pop out with
Yeah.
your hand
Yep.
grab onto the next bench. And then we thought we could do
I
stuff
might
like
get in
that.
trouble, but yeah, Sal's style was always a little nicer than Matt Hensley's as
Yep.
well.
And
So
everybody was all like Matt Hensley around the time. And yeah, Matt Hensley was cool, but Sal, I was just like blown away. And I was getting
yeah.
more into like rap music at the time anyway. So I think I liked
NWA
it the
just
more,
dropped.
like, and then questionable video, I always like Sean Sheffy's part because,
Yeah, dude. That was incredible.
and
Absolutely.
so when questionable came out, that was mind blowing. And so I basically, Brian Warner lived close to Skates Plus down the Rock Road. He could skate there from his house.
Yeah.
And he'd come over to my house and bring the new videos and bring the new news. And he
Yeah.
told me
That was
about
I was
World
about to ask,
Industries.
like, did you guys were you buying the videos at Skates Plus or just they would let you borrow
Um,
them or
he bought them
yeah.
and I
There was
pirate
always a dude that
recorded
would
them.
buy them. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I would record. I remember I had a one tape that we made. Maybe he let me make. I mean, when he first got it, it's like unethical to share it that quick. He
There
That's
were some
one thing about Brian. He knew the
unwritten.
skateboard ethics. He told me one time we were going to Keener, maybe my first time ever going to Keener. I'm always behind on everything. You guys are already skating Keener. I'm like a year and a half in my first time at Keener, after
Sure.
you guys are already there. And he told me, if you see anybody trying a trick, don't try what they're trying.
Eh, it's
He
actually
knew the
kind of
skate.
good. Like,
He
look out
knew
for you too, you know?
he knew the skateboard ethics
Yeah.
always ahead of time. And so like, yeah, he wouldn't let me record. I remember asking if I could record a copy. He's like, not yet, or not even not yet. He's just like, no. And then after it's out for 6 months, then it's like, okay. And then he made me like a tape with video days and all the best virtual realities on that tape. I think I still have that tape somewhere. And yeah, I played them over and over and over.
Dude, that's
So,
incredible.
The
oh yeah, so
mixtape videos.
Ryan Burkhart's ramps was on Midland and Fifi-ish in a like bigger house neighborhood where the houses are big with big blacktop driveways in that little area off of Midland and Fifi.
Yep.
And his dad his dad owned a hardware store off Woodson, and it might still be there. I don't know. I never knew that kid that well, but everybody else would like stay the night at his house, and they'd have big skate parties, and they would imitate everything they saw in the Plan B videos. And I learned some ramp tricks there. Like the first time I skated there, I was doing rock and rolls and go up on my nose and shift down. I don't know, what do you call it? You
Like
just
a
go to
nose
your
stall?
a nose
Like
stall
a revert.
Oh,
nose
yeah.
stall
A
revert.
revert, yeah.
And I learned a bunch of reverts and pivots, just simple tricks. But then I was hooked on
Skating
coping and
transitions.
coping and ramps because it was like, uh, like you guys won't like to hear this, but rough brick spots, I could not stand going to. Like
Oh, it
I was
wasn't. I don't
at
know.
Keener, the only thing I ever did, I ollied up the three and I kicked it, flipped down the three. And that
Yeah.
was like my challenge. I was like, I'm going to do something at Keener. I want to do a line at Keener and that's the only thing I ever did. But I was happy with that, you know.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
day I did that, I ran into JT Stone there,
Oh wow,
and that was
long
it was
time
like
ago.
2000. It was
Yeah.
like probably 2000. But
Well,
the Pershing fountain spot, the
yeah.
fountain, dude, Def Brian
Those
loved that
bricks were
spot.
really difficult.
I hated that spot, and that's
Yeah,
what I
dude.
thought you guys might not
Those,
like to hear. And
I'm
oh
kind of
no,
with
dude,
I'm with you
it's
on that
okay.
one, dude.
man,
Dude,
I couldn't do
to
anything
hear my
there. But
perfectly honest opinion on Keener, those bricks, I definitely hated skating flat there. I was like,
Yeah,
I
your
do,
because
I
you
nose
do
would get
feel
like,
all
chipped up.
those
I
Yeah.
do like the
that and
texture of
like it
rolling on
wasn't
bricks. I do like the
it
texture of
once
rolling on
past
bricks.
like 91 or whatever, 92, that
Yeah.
shit was wavy as fuck. Like, and
It
it was hard. It
sounds
was hard.
cool
Like,
on video. Like it looks
yeah.
good on video.
But anyways,
It's
yeah,
hard
I'm
to
just not
pop
good.
of. Yeah.
great spot
I'm not
though,
good with.
still.
I'm not good with my feet setting up quickly after a crack. I never
Yeah.
was good with that.
Yeah.
And if I hit a
Tons of
crack,
But
cracks.
it
it
throws
is one
off
of
my
the
confidence and it throws off everything when I hit a crack. My
yeah,
feet move a little bit.
the fountain, I grew to like the imperfections, like and having to like you
I
would
just
have
couldn't
to
do
like
much there.
memorize all the different imperfections for whatever trick you were trying. Like,
We
oh,
ended up
like I
there.
like to pop here, so I gotta like I know I gotta light foot this hole here, and then like that was I like that shit. Even though, yeah, if you don't skate it, like it's fucking horrible.
Well, you guys
Yeah.
killed it. You know, I mean, I saw Joe Herb's stuff and
Oh
everybody's
God,
stuff
yeah,
over the years
nah,
from
Joe
the
fucked that place up.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Radical Dog Contest to what was it? Image skateboard, was that a thing? Am I making that up?
That
Yeah,
Not
sounds
Image,
that was a
but
thing.
familiar.
Yeah.
I don't. And you guys have talked
No.
about those old skate videos from when I was living in California days that came out around St. Louis, and they have some fountain tricks. And
Yeah.
Bobby Taylor did a bunch of crazy stuff across the corkscrew or
Yeah.
the screw
Yeah.
Yep.
head.
Yeah.
Like he was the first one I ever saw that went through that and
Yep.
nose grind and nose blunt it. I didn't know that was a thing. And then Randy backtailed it or something later,
Yeah.
you know, through
Yeah.
the center. You
Yeah.
know, all the years going there in the 90s and Def Brian and Brian Mudd taking me there. It was always the end of the day spot when there's nothing left. That's always there. And we
It was
never
always
thought
not
we
much of a
never
bust back then,
we
for
never
sure.
thought to use that round block for anything
Yeah.
though. I
Well,
don't think
Oh
any
yeah.
of us thought about using that for anything at
it
all.
was hard to get. It is hard to get
It's hard
to.
to get to, yeah.
Yeah, as well
Yeah,
as
that,
yeah, you got to hit it straight on. There's a lot of things working against you, right?
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I did one line there. It wasn't that cool, so not even worth
Nice.
talking about it. But I did get like a like a Yelp from Def Brian. He's like gave me a attaboy, so that was cool. That was enough, you
Yeah.
know. I did like a kick flip and a board slide, and he's like, yeah. I'm like,
Rad.
cool. I did one thing here ever.
Hey, let's fast forward a little bit. So you
Yeah,
guys
I
are
know. We're taking a lot of
no,
time.
no,
Sorry.
well, no. There's some good stuff we want
Yeah,
to get
I
to
love
though.
it.
You guys are full bore into skateboarding. You and your crew wind up in San Diego. Is that right?
Yep. So let me just real quick.
Yep.
So high school ends, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I worked at a car wash, and a bunch of hippies worked there. That like they were older than me, and they traveled with the Grateful Dead and stuff. And I was interested. I was like partying more and more like chasing other things. And I was going to festivals and rap festivals and hippie festivals and raves
Yeah,
and
I was about to
other
ask, you had to do the
crews. And I
rave
met
stuff.
Jim Buellhorn at a rave, and people thought I was Jim Buellhorn because I had a big crazy wig on, and they kept calling me Jim. Then I met Jim. It was so crazy. I met people like Chris Morrison and Dave Morrison and all the East Coast, Belleville guys, all that time era guys. And I started skating with Chris Morrison a lot. I never knew Dave that well, but I know he was a ripper. I don't even know if you guys know the guys I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely. I remember those dudes.
I knew Jim and skated with him, and so what was my point? Oh, after high school,
You're kind of hanging with those dudes, kind of trying to figure
uh,
it out, type of thing.
I knew skateboarding was cool, but I still just went and I went to Yellowstone National Park because I got a job there right out of high school.
Oh wow, what
Oh
were you
hell,
doing?
Then
that's fucking sick.
just
Park
working
ranger?
in a restaurant at a
Huh.
lodge,
Oh,
and it's because I just wanted to travel. I wanted adventure. I was like born to travel and adventure and stuff, and climb mountains or whatever. And so I end up take a bus to Yellowstone, and I'm 18, and a lot of crazy stuff happened there. But kind of going there reminded me that, well, I miss skateboarding, and I met some guys there that skated, and then we took a road trip down to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and there was a blue mini ramp out in the middle of the rodeo ground, like a metal one, and we had one skateboard and 3 guys, and I didn't have a skateboard with me, and because I was going to Yellowstone to live in the woods, and I worked in a lodge, the Old Faithful Lodge, bussing tables and washing dishes. I was 18, and anyway, I did all those tricks I learned in Ryan Burkhart's driveway
on the mini ramp.
Yeah, and then I kind of missed home, and I got myself fired on purpose so I could go home. So then I took a Greyhound bus back home after being there for about 2 months, and Deaf Brian picks me up at the airport, at the bus station at the airport, and he sold me his skateboard right there for $40 because he was mad at me. I didn't have a skateboard. I didn't have one at the time. I didn't even own one. I was 18 and just partying, and I had sold mine for $60 just because I needed money.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done playing with this yo-yo anyway. You know, I'm too tall. I had a growth spurt when I'm 6'5". And Brian picks me up at the airport. He sold me it was the Plan B with the peacock feathers. You remember that? Anyway, it was like peacock feathers all at the bottom.
Yep.
We went straight to Altered, and I think this is maybe my first time I ever been to Altered. We went straight there, and you might have been working for all I know. He bought a Complete, and I had his old Complete, and then we went and skated, and then I fell in love with skateboarding again. Like right that week, my first week home from being out in the mountains and very secluded, and then like skateboarding was like back in my lap. And
fun again.
It was, and he had met other friends over the summer while I was gone, and he met he had kind of gotten flow from Altered and been invited to the events, you know, like
little demos and stuff.
Yeah, he didn't really have. When I left, like we graduated high school together, then I left. When I left, he didn't have that, and Altered wasn't. We didn't really have a shop anymore because Skates Plus closed.
Yep.
And
I can't remember. When did they close around 93 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, 93, 94. It was sad. It was probably 93. It's kind of sad for me because I mean it wasn't like crying sad, but it was like now looking back, it was like so much creativity and music and things I was like turned on to from that shop.
Yeah.
And then it was just gone like that. And so then he was getting invited to all the Altered demos, and you know, he told me he was like sponsored by Skate Shop now, and he had a T-shirt, and you know, I don't know how true that was. So, but he was
No, it's true.
He got a discount.
He was around at a lot of those demos.
He would brag about.
I've dug up some footage, and
he'd brag about his 20% discount, and and he'd go there every day. Every day, I'm sure you got you.
Dude,
I know
it was
Todd probably working there.
Man,
just saw him standing there reading magazines all day, every day, and put in this video. Now put in this video. Now put in this video.
Think about the internet didn't exist, so you needed some sort of something to do.
He knew about when the UPS guy would show up, even back in the Skates Plus days. He would be there when the UPS guy was showing up to see the new magazines, the new videos, and the new stuff. He knew all about that stuff.
Smart.
He knew it.
I wasn't smart enough to know that.
I didn't either. He taught me, but and I still never really had even though I'm a skateboard nerd, I have patience. I can wait. If I don't have it right away, I'll get it. I'll get that Black Label video later. Or I'll see the new video down the road. But so I come back from out west, and then still want to move back out west though. It really opened my eyes being out in Yellowstone. I met people from all over. I met snowboarders. I didn't really know snowboard culture was a thing, but that was the closest kind of thing to something I related to. So I met a lot of snowboarders there and people from California, And then when I'm back, I have a lot of friends that are moving out west to California. And so me and some like hippie buddies that kind of skated, we bought a van together and we were moving to Oregon.
Oh, wow.
And this is like maybe a year after I get back from Yellowstone. And during that time, I'd met a lot. I was tagging along to those demos. Um, I met Kojak, and well, Def Brian was like my buddy Kojak, Michael Kozart, and
Yeah.
and I met Terrence Hughes, and I met Ben Goki, and and we were skating the parking garage, right? Kojak is what we call Michael
Right.
Kozart,
Yep.
and man, he
Yeah.
was a ripper.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of ripper that doesn't care about skateboarding, but could ollie over a lawn chair or 360 flip, going 50 miles an hour. You know, like, and I know
Yeah.
you grew up kind of skating with him, Todd.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know more than I do.
I'm just thinking about it now. Actually, we skated a lot for when we were
Yeah.
13 to 16 or something like that, quite a bit.
So he was getting kind of back into skating, and I was getting back into skating when I came back from Yellowstone. And he was like, "This parking garage downtown, I'm going to build a launch ramp just big enough to fit through the crack into the Busch Stadium parking garage, and we're going to store it in there. And there's a bunch of trash cans and plywood, and we'll go there and skate in the wintertime." So that whole winter after high school, the first winter after high school, we were going there every night and skating. And I saw Kojak kickflip off a launch ramp that was pretty low over one of those big trash cans.
Oh, nice.
Landed
Yeah.
perfect. Some other guys were tagging along. Terrence knew, and this guy was a ripper, tall redhead dude named Dave or Steve from like Columbia, Missouri, that Terrence knew, and he was 360 flipping trash cans. And we were just skating down there all the time. It was in the basement of the parking garage. Did you ever skate there?
I think so. Yeah.
That long yellow
Yeah.
curb.
With the super smooth
So
ground.
we put the ramp at the bottom of that ramp, that long yellow curb.
Yeah.
I board slid that whole curb a bunch of times, and
That was a fun
I learned
spot.
I learned how to ollie very high off a launch ramp, like as high as I could anyway. I mean, other guys were doing two trash cans on top of each other, but learned some grabs. And in that time, I met like other guys from out in the St. Charles area through Mike Kozar, like Soup, Scott
Yeah, I
Campbell.
was wondering when soup comes into the
Yeah.
So
equation.
Soup came in through Michael Kozar. Mike warned me about him one day. He's like, "My buddy Soup's coming over, and he's got this car, and he's real sensitive about it, and you
So
shouldn't
sick.
don't say anything about his car like negatively." And I was like, "Why would I do that?" And Mike's like, "We call it the Ghetto Cruiser." I'm like, "Well, why are you giving me ammo? You're telling me the nickname." Anyway, he still got that car in Hawaii, and we're lifelong
No way.
friends. And first time at Soup, so like we got paired up on a skate date. Really, kind of. I'm 19 years old, and he picked me up because I didn't have a car at the time. I was very like, get a ticket, don't pay it, don't care if I don't have a car. Like I had some phases where I was just like, fuck the system, and anyway, Soup picks me up on the Rock Road in Overland for some reason, and he's got a Raleigh's burger in his cooler. And the first thing he says is like, "You want a Raleigh's burger?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I'm vegetarian." At the time, I was vegetarian, and then we might have even went and skated with Kojak.
Wow.
I don't know if you were there, but I know sometimes when we would meet up with Kojak, you would be there, and we skated that JL mud bump
Oh,
spot.
wow. Yeah.
And I know you were there. And Kojak would bring a trash can and put it on
Sure.
the
Yep.
bump where there wasn't a rail. And you guys were so used to that bump, you would just float ollies over it like
Dude,
to warm up.
it's funny. I remember talking to Mike when I was like 14 on the phone. He's like, they just paved the parking lot with these banks. And I was like, really? And he was describing it to me. He's like, yeah, you can do like ollie melancholies. And I remember thinking like it was a bank like a quarter pipe. And then we got there. I'm like, oh my God, those were great. They were really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pro level spot. We knew
sure.
about that spot and being out in Arizona and skating with like heavy hitters out in California. And we, as in like me and Brian Werner, we would be like thinking like, if this guy was at JL Mud, like what could they
Oh,
do?
I know.
For
No,
You know, if
I
you
sure.
could,
know. Yeah.
but
That's why I kind of like, I remember that spot feeling like ollieing it was like, oh
It
shit, that
shot you
felt
really
cool.
good. Yeah.
But I
so
was like, I
yeah,
knew what a pro would do there. I was like, dude,
Well,
I'm never
they
gonna
put
be
a
able.
bar on the one side towards the end, and it was like they were trying to prevent people from skating, but you could go over it chilling, you know?
yeah, that
Is
spot
that
was
so?
epic.
At first, that bar wasn't there?
No, was not there.
Oh, oh,
No.
really?
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
So
Cool spot,
so
man. It was a
me
really
and
cool spot.
some hippie guys and ravers I met through. Oh, here's a picture of when I was in Yellowstone, going to Yellowstone.
Dude, that's
Up
sick.
there. So we bought a van for $700, and I'm like 19 years old. I know it was 95, 96. We left on New Year's Eve of 95, 96, and we spent it, broke down on the side of the highway, like near Oklahoma City.
Dude.
And all these guys kind of skated, but they weren't into it like me. Like for me, I was going west because I was interested in skateboarding, and I'm also interested in the excitement and the freedom of being out west. And just like back then, it's like the only cool place in America to go to get away from the monotony of the Midwest. I wasn't interested in the East Coast, you know. So we broke down all over the place, and we ended up in Phoenix, and we ended up broke in Phoenix.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, all right, well, let's just live here. And the guys I was with, and I can name them all: Dave McDevitt, Chad Hyatt, you might know
Oh,
him,
wow. Yeah, I remember that dude.
Pax Ananda,
Yeah.
Pax, and John Gaither. John
Those dudes are like
Gaither.
Wow.
all from O'Fallon, right? Or
No, well,
something?
Remember
John is from
John
Rittner.
Gaither a little bit.
John grew up right next to Rittner.
Okay.
Pox is from O'Fallon.
Yeah.
Chad's from O'Fallon. I met those two through Kojak, Michael
Kojak, sure.
Kozart.
Yeah.
And then Dave McDevitt was from Normandy, North County. He was a little older than us, but he was like just like a guitar player. He actually skated pretty good. Everybody had a skateboard and
Sure.
skated, but I was the most into skating. They were like into other things. Like Pox is looking for a yoga retreat.
Yep.
Chad's looking for a punk band. Dave's looking for a pack of smokes. You know, we were all like, we were in 5 guys in a van, all looking for something different.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a place to live out west that has a lot of skateboarding.
Dude, I
And
forgot you guys took a detour in Arizona. I totally forgot about that chap. So
so,
did you guys actually like
so
post
yeah,
up
we got
there?
an apartment
No
with
way.
5 guys in a 2-bedroom on Camelback and 17, Highway 17. Like you could see it from Highway 17. And I got a job at a car wash because I had a lot of experience in detailing cars. And John and Chad, John Gaither and Chad Hyatt got a job at a hotel right next to our place. Anyway,
You're getting invaded.
okay, hold on a minute, please. So where was I? I'm skating around town every day, and our rent is $300 a month for a 2-bedroom, 5
Jesus.
guys. And back then,
yeah.
I'm skating
Skate
around
routes.
finding spots, but they're not really going and skating with me. For them, their skateboard's a mode of transportation. Chad would actually go skate with me, and he liked manuals, and he was like skating some ledges, and I kept finding spots everywhere. And there was no skate parks in Phoenix back then. There might have been Thrasher Land, but
This
there
was
was not
before
like
Desert West and the
yeah.
whole
It was
thing.
before. It was like 2 years before Desert West. So I wrote a letter to. I used to handwrite letters to friends back then. This is 1996, and I wrote a letter to Def Brian. It was Brian Werner. I'm like, hey, Phoenix is really cool, and you really like skating here. And I'm taking a bus home and going to Mardi Gras with Michael Kozart, and then we're gonna drive Chad's car back. Me and Chad took a Greyhound to St. Louis. We jumped in a car with Kojak and went to Mardi Gras. Then we drove to Phoenix, and I was like to Brian, Deaf Brian, if you want to come with us, you
Yeah.
can follow us in your car and move here. And we got a 2-bedroom apartment. You can sleep in the living room. So, and he did. And he gets there, finally, like, there were a lot of adventures between he gets there, but trying to shorten this up. And one of the first days, we go to Cowtown, and it's their first day they're open.
Oh, wow.
Cowtown on Central and Camelback just opened like the day we just show up by chance. This is before internet and flip phones, you know. And how did we find it? I can't remember, but we just walked into Cowtown. We met Trent and Ed right away.
Nice.
They invite us to skate in a contest that they're throwing for a fundraiser for Desert West, which is on the basketball courts next to Desert West. So that's like this weekend, and we're like, well, Brian wants to. I'm probably not. I'll film it. I always had a camera, so I'll film it, and I hope we still have footage of that. So that day we met Alex Brand.
Yeah.
That's to this day Brian's best deaf
Yep.
friend, and they were like peas in a pod right away. And Alex took first in the contest, and Brian took second.
Oh, sick.
No way.
They
That's
both
cool.
landed all their kick flips and 360 flips and every trick. They landed everything, and they were just consistent, and they won.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Alex comes over to our apartment and picks up Brian to go skate, and I go with him, and I'm the filmer. And then it was like that for years.
Is that the beginning of Deaf Skateboards ultimately, or what?
Yeah, they didn't know it yet, but yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And first, well, they both got on Cowtown. They were both.
Yeah, because I think Brian has tricks. Or I know Alex does, but doesn't
Yeah.
Brian have tricks in the
They
first?
they share a
Cowtown video?
part. They share a part
Yeah.
in the first Cowtown video, which I filmed more than half of that.
No way.
And
That's sick. Yeah. I think Brian gave me a copy of that way back. Like it was my first.
Yeah. Let me
Like,
say this.
just knowing about it, like, holy shit, this is
Let's
sick.
just go back to the spotty hiatus from skateboarding in high school days. We would be at a high school party. We were at a high school party in a backyard that had a big concrete patio. And Brian was always kind of bored and antsy at parties. He doesn't listen to music. And so he was owling over a lawn chair in the backyard, and everybody's clapping. And it's a high school party, and everybody's just like, what else you got? And he hippie jumps a lawn chair, a big steel lawn chair in somebody's backyard. Then he switch ollies the damn lawn chair after about 5 tries. Then I said, I bet he can do every flip trick that we know. So I was like, I bet can you do every flip trick that we know of right now in this time and era? And he proceeded to do every flip trick that we knew about at that time.
Nice.
He did them all, and he skated in front of everybody he was like a monkey, like you know, that you pay to skate. He was always like that anyway. He liked to entertain. He would act like Charlie Chaplin and act funny and fall down and do
totally.
the craziest silly stunts. But if he could skate and entertain people, that was even like better than being funny. But yeah, there was parties where everybody come out to the driveway or out to the street. Brian's going to do every flip trick, and he would do them all, just one right after another. And then it would get to like a nollie 360 heel flip, and it'd be a battle. And you know, maybe never land that or something, but it was like always something like crazy with him, like a showman. He was a showman.
The first time I saw Brian was at Neon Curb. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Oh yeah.
But out in the county.
On the Rock Road?
On Olive.
This one's out on Olive. It's like a parking garage.
Yeah.
Anyways, with a bunch of neon lights on top of it.
That was my spot for a while.
I swear to God, this is a memory, and I've shared this with Brian a million times because it was the first time I ever saw him. This is like 93. It was like the Puma days, you know, everybody had the Pumas and the white t-shirt and jeans, and he gets out of the car. First fucking try. This is what I'm just like, is this real? He 360 lip slid the curb. Just like
sick.
Oh yeah.
Like straight out of the car. Just like might have rolled around, but didn't do anything. And then just like boom, like fucking yeah.
Yeah, there was different eras in my life. There's always
talented.
somebody who that you know in your life who's like the best skateboarder that you know, and he was for a long time like the best
Yeah,
skateboarder. Like
yeah.
he could ollie over anything.
Yep.
And so we're out in Phoenix, and I was the filmer with the two deaf guys. I was just the guy in the back seat of Alex's car, and Alex knew every spot.
Yeah.
Deaf
Because
Alex ran.
he's from down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he grew
Yep.
up in Mesa. He grew up skating with Chad Muska and Eric Ellington. Um,
That's cool.
we skated with Randy Colvin. We skated. I was introduced to the pool culture.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Once you
so
said
many
Randy
crazy.
Colvin, I was wondering if you had the pool thing going on.
Me and Brian ended up moving into this skate house, and we built like a skate park in the front yard. And we'd wake up in the morning, and Randy Colvin and punker Matt was skating in our front yard, or Tim McKinney from Think Skateboards. All kinds of people like came through. We skated with so many like talented people in Phoenix. Mike Clark. There was this whole team, Brink Skateboards. They all shredded ridiculous, just like mind blowing things I didn't think that people could do in the mid 90s. And I moved back to St. Louis, stayed with my parents for a little while. And I worked at Krieger's. That's when I ran into you skating behind, you were skating behind McDonald's. Remember Krieger's on Dorset?
Yeah.
And
And then
so I had come from Phoenix, and I was probably 20, 21. But I saw you skating back there, and I was working at Krieger's. I think I was taking out the trash, but I was like, that dude looks like he really skates. Like he's not just playing with a skateboard. Like you were like dressed like a skateboarder, like out of a magazine. And that's the first time I
yeah.
remember meeting Matt Mitten. I think I
So
talked
that makes
to
more
you, but you
sense
were like,
because I thought we met
I,
maybe even earlier, but that I used to skate, they made a ledge there, kind of a higher curb there eventually that
yeah, yeah.
but
You
I've
were
been
skating the bottom like it was ledges. You were skating like
yeah,
that
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's the first time I remember. And then I was
Same.
then we were
Yeah.
at an altered demo, and I put it together. I was like, oh, that's the dude that was behind
See,
the
so you didn't
McDonald's stuff.
live, so when you bring up your childhood, I always thought you might have lived right over there too.
So I did.
But
So when I was
yeah.
17, my parents moved into more close to the top entrance of Creveport
Okay.
Park. It's
Oh
Yeah,
called
yeah.
wow.
Polo Park.
Yeah.
Um, when I was 17, we just moved closer to where you're from, like up the hill from Krieger's there. So I was probably
Yeah.
right. I rode a
I'm
BMX,
more towards
or I
like
rode a
my
mountain
mom's house
bike.
is more towards McKelvey School and all that, like up the street.
So around then, another time, funny story, Kojak, Michael Kozart, we actually went to Mardi Gras twice with him. Another time, this is earlier, he randomly, it was around then, and he's like, you want to go to Mardi Gras? Okay, we'll go to Mardi Gras. I probably had $15 to my name. And me and Brian Werner were like, ride with him to Mardi Gras in his mom's station wagon. First, we stopped in like Edwardsville at a college, and we picked up two like hippie kids that skated. They had their hair like dyed blue, and they had a jar full of weed, and they were like stinky hippie kids, but they're really cool at the same time and could skate really good. I don't know who they were, still to this day. For some reason, Mike Kozart knew them,
Huh.
and we were giving them a ride to Mardi Gras. So we're driving through the night, drive all night long, and the sun comes up, and I'm driving, and everybody's sleeping except for Brian Werner's next to me, and we smoke a joint, and then we get pulled over. I'm going like 90, and a state trooper pulls me over, and there's no denying it. You know, we practically still had a joint in our hand, and this is in 1996 ish in Mississippi.
Dude, this is how
Oh
Easy Rider went
fuck.
down, dude. I know the
Yeah.
story.
So he pulls me out of the car, and he tells them, go on to Mardi Gras. You can pick him up on your way back after the weekend.
Oh shit.
So luckily they didn't do that.
Well, luckily they didn't pick you up, or luckily they didn't put you in jail.
No, they neither. So he puts me in the car, and he's taking me to jail, and he's like yelling at me, and he's got a dog that's barking at me, and he never searched the car. So in the meantime, those guys went and hid their big jar of weed somewhere. Then they went to find me at the police station. And then the state trooper had somebody else pull them over, put out an APV on them, found them, went to them, then let me go with a pile of tickets because I admitted that I was smoking marijuana and driving. He gave me a DUI and let me go, though. So weird. And then we went to the fence post that they hid their weed behind and we found it. And we went on to Mardi Gras. And this was another time where I kind of fell in love with street skating. Because we were cruising, these guys that we picked up in Edwardsville, who I didn't know, they were really good at skating. They were just like 360 flipping and kick flipping, and we're just cruising through crowds down through a city we've never been to, and finding spots and skating through crowds, and just like Eastern exposure, like just cruising through the streets.
Yep.
And I was like, this is really fun. So then Kojak knew people. We stayed with them, and we lost those kids we brought. We never saw them again. We never saw them. No phones.
They're still in.
We never
New
saw
Orleans.
them again. I heard years later that we left some skater kids in New Orleans, and they are like looking for us, but like
They're
I don't
just
even know where I heard that.
roaming the streets with an empty jar, just like
Yeah. Super crazy. So let's go back to Phoenix, though. Anyway, I lived in Phoenix for a few years, off and on, moved back and forth. And then I worked at hotels, and then I didn't really like any job I had there. And had a bunch of friends move to San Diego, and some offered me to stay
I think
at their
your
place.
wires.
Yeah, it keeps hitting the microphone or something.
Sorry. You got me now?
Yep, you're good. You're good.
Got me now?
Yeah.
I was jittering. So Pox, he was staying at like a yoga commune in downtown San Diego, which I didn't know that, but he was like, you can come stay with me. Everybody's real friendly here, you know? I didn't even know I was going to stay in like a cult kind of thing. And I basically moved to San Diego on a whim. Told my roommates in Phoenix, I was like, here's all the money I got. I'm moving to San Diego. I just can't handle it. I couldn't handle Phoenix anymore. I had no car. It was summertime.
Ugh.
I was working at Target, and things just, I had done 2 years of skating, and I knew my skating would decline. They had just started getting all the parks. Desert West was there. Other parks were popping up, and all the ditches, and so much good skating there. I knew going to San Diego, I would skate less, which is weird to say, but it was true in the long run. So anyway, I go to San Diego. I'm sleeping under their computer desk.
At the yoga spot?
Yeah. And that was when I learned, and it's like 98. And I learned Pox knew how to do computers, and he made electronic music, and he hooked me up with an email, and he showed me how to do things, surf the internet. And I applied for travel jobs, which I didn't get at the time, but got a job bussing tables, and eventually got an apartment, got out of there. I think my mom heard I was living in a cult and got scared, which I didn't feel like it was. They let me just live there. And I'm being kind of a handyman. I helped them refinish their hardwood floors. I did some work in their kitchen on their plumbing. I wasn't afraid to do the dishes. I always helped, you know, and they were like,
earning your keep.
They were like, we'll give that guy a pass on not being showing up to yoga at 7 a.m. like, because he does so much, you know. I think that's what. And then finally, they kind of kicked me out there. They were like, if you don't show up to do yoga, you got to leave. So, got an apartment with some friends. I had so many. In 8 years of living in San Diego, probably had 8 different apartments and stuff, different living situations.
Yeah.
And it eventually turned into skateboard house because that's what I was like always aiming for, you know. And in that time, I went up to San Francisco and stayed with Goki and Mitten.
Yeah.
And we went to Hot Rod, and we crashed in Tim Burns' floor when he lived in that apartment with Dan Haney lived in the same apartment complex.
Yep.
And
Yep.
a bunch of Hot Rod guys that I kind of didn't really know them, but I know them now, kind of thing. I
Hey,
know of them. I know of them. I don't know them that well.
you guys all wound up working at Tumyeto during that era, yeah, or something?
So yeah, when things started becoming more skate house, and I started meeting more skateboarders in San Diego through different events and just showing up to spots. It evolved from street skating to park skating to pool skating back to street skating, and then a buddy of mine shows up at my house one day in Golden Hill, San Diego, and he's like, "I got a job at Tomieto." That's awesome. So I'm like, "Wow, that's great. That's really cool. I didn't think it was possible. I knew it was like right down the street from my house. You can walk there."
Oh wow.
But I didn't know like a normal guy like him. This is my friend's name's John Scarborough from Arizona, and I had met this squad of guys from Arizona who we all had friends in common from Arizona days, and so many different, the web of skateboarders. I knew a crew from St. Louis, a crew from Colorado, a crew from here,
Yeah.
a crew from there. Skated with the Street Machine guys a lot. Skated Skateboard Heaven all the time. For a while, that DC vert ramp that Danny jumped from a helicopter into, that was set up in downtown San Diego at Skateboard Heaven. It was a skate park, and you could see the vert ramp from my front porch in Golden Hill.
Oh wow.
So
Crazy.
my buddy, at the time, I'm like working in a restaurant at the Marriott in the Marriott Marina downtown San Diego. My buddy's like, "Yeah, I'm sure you could get a job at Tomieto. Go apply." All right, so I go apply. And Kevin Marks actually was working in marketing at the window, and he handed me my application.
Oh
I
cool.
fill application. Somebody called. I got the job. Damon Mills called, who, if you don't know who that is, he's kind of a quiet sub. He's a sub. He's unknown, but a heavy hitter in the skateboard industry. Damon Mills.
Is he part owner of Tumyeto with Todd Swank?
So
Is it like that?
he ran the Silkscreen warehouse for a long time, and he might still. He owns Patinas Americanas. It's like a little skateboard brand. He also is a big pool skater. I think he made the video pulling around. He's just kind of a low key, kind of a Mario Luber kind of low key San Diego hero.
San Diego
kind of
has some gnarly heavy hitter, like not
but there's still like no
dudes.
no social media, still like unknown and don't care, kind of like. So I got a job at Tomieto.
What were you doing?
And learned a silk screen. So we're working in the silk screen in the sweatshop, and when you're new, you're actually shrink wrapping boards.
Yep.
And you scrape boards. There's a position called a scraper, and at that point, you're like the janitor. You scrape the ink that's gone over the side, and then you shrink wrap them, and then you work your way up. When you learn to silk screen, you can silk screen, and then you can move on. If you're one of the cool kids, you move on to shipping and receiving. And those are like the cool kids. The guys in the silkscreen warehouse, they were kind of like, we're the homeless guys or the janitors. Damon Mills was our supervisor there. And then Glenn Wagner, one of the founders of Washington Street, he worked in shipping and receiving. And, Todd Swank.
Glenn's a great dude.
Oh, yeah, great dude. Run into him since then in Hawaii at Soup's Place. Lots of good stories about that. But anyway, and I had to remind him we worked together at Tomieto, and then we rehashed memories about that. So Mark Waters, Todd Swank, they were like the top head honchos at Tomieto, and it was the Ethan Fowler tight pants, black spiky hair days.
Got it.
Wearing
strokes.
Like
strokes.
Yeah, they were
Strokes.
3 peas in a pod. Like Ethan Fowler, Todd Swank, and Mark Waters. You'd see them there often. I guess Ethan was the top skater. I don't know what else he did besides that. He could, and Josh Beagle, always there. And Josh was like an insta friend of mine. Like for some reason, I ran into him at a bar long before I worked at Tomieto. and we just sat and chatted forever. And he just like, it was like for years we run into each other and know each other. There's a lot of people like that. I never, and Josh Beagle told me about Washington Street when they first built a little thing there. Then I showed up there with a vacuum cleaner, and Steve Olson, Shorty Steve Olson, Glenn Wagner, Joe Pino, and a whole crew were skating. They just had the first little like pyramid box with a rail and a. I actually, crazy thing is, I had a dream that I was skating a concrete quarter pipe under a bridge, and then within a few days, Josh Beagle told me about Washington Street. Then I lived with Pox still at the time, and we went to Goodwill, and we needed a vacuum cleaner, and we bought a vacuum cleaner. We didn't have a car, so we're taking the San Diego trolley. I saw the skate park from the San Diego trolley on the way to the Goodwill. On the way back, I said, I'm getting off at that stop and going and skating that thing. I have my skateboard with me. I always had my skateboard with me then. It was attached to me.
Yeah.
So we had a vacuum cleaner, and we went to the spot, and me and Pox skated a lot at the time. That guy could do 360 flat ground ollies.
I remember skating with Pox growing up quite a bit, actually, now that I think about it.
He was a guy that he didn't care about skating.
Yeah.
He couldn't tell you much about it, but he could do a front side 360 ollie, and he could hang in there he had fun, like legit fun, but didn't care about the politics or the.
He was like a super soft-spoken, sweet dude. I remember that.
Yeah.
You know, he was a real nice guy.
I still talk to him to this day. He lives in a hot spring resort in Oregon, and he's the top chef, like a master chef. So yeah, I skated with Steve Olson. He gave me a Yelp. I did like an ollie over the bar, and Shorty Steve Olson was like, "Woo!" I always keep track of those because I don't get a lot of those, but you know, and he taught me to do a backside kickflip that day. I might have already done them before, but the way he did them, he does it. He catches it 90 and then places it down real quick.
Yep.
Or he did we were skating flat ground right there where Washington Street is now. And that was an eye opener. I was like, oh, that's cool style. And anyway, the next time I went back to skate there, then there were a bunch of cops. And then the next time it was shut down with Jersey barriers all around it. And then it was not skatable for about 8 years. You couldn't skate there. And that's it. Well, it was shut down. But I did go, and I have footage of it in a soup video. I did a bunch of tricks on this quarter pipe, which is the only part still there right now, this quarter pipe. That's the one I had a dream about. And I skated starting here. I threw down my board one push and did a shitload of tricks on that. And he put it in one of the soup videos.
So wait, were you in San Diego when the barriers come down and building starts?
Yes. So I was there then.
Okay.
But at that time I moved further away, and I didn't have a car a lot. And it was a lot. Oh, that's why I told the Mardi Gras story. I didn't have a car for years because of that DUI I got. I never even like took care of it until I was like 29. Yeah. I just had tickets, and I learned from Chad Muska from an interview to tell cops a fake name. I read in an interview, I think I read a lot of skateboard mags. I worked in a gift shop for a little while, and I just read skateboard mags over and over all day. But he said he gave either somebody said they gave Chad Muska as a name, or Chad Muska said he gave fake names to cops. I don't remember, but anyway, I started doing that. And I even told a cop my name was Chad Muska one time, and I got a ticket with the name Chad Muska. And then I started doing Paul, because my family calls me Paul, and you guys might know me as Paul back in the day because a lot of people just call me Paul. I would say Paul Cross, Cross. So that's like an alias I would use.
Yeah,
I think statute of limitations.
I hope so.
Statute of limitations. So anyway, back on track. So a lot of tickets built up. I was bartending then. I had a lot of jobs. And then, hey, Jeff Rass just texted me. He said, hey, you in St. Louis right now? I just had a pop-up. That's cool. So I finally got my shit together when my parents gave me an old SUV It was a '97 Blazer, and they're like, "You fly home to St. Louis and drive it back to California." I was like, "This is my chance to have a nice car." It was the
Yeah.
Eddie Bauer edition, and I told myself, "Oh, I had a car get stolen," and I didn't for a while. I would just have a car and no insurance, no license, and just drive. And then this is a dirtbag thing that I don't do anymore. But I was like 25, and I had a car stolen with everything in it. We were about to go on a road trip to Canada. Now, in my 20s, I did so many road trips. We skated all over the West Coast. We went to Arizona, Nevada, up into Oregon, all the way to Whistler. Down, I stayed at Matt's apartment, Ben Goki and Matt's, on the way to Whistler at one time, and he showed us that fort. Remember, we ran from the cops and we went down through the jungle, like through that huge.
Dude, that was a
Remember that?
fun, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that steep hill? We ran through the cops through the jungle. You guys were doing DIY on Fort Miley type spot by the Golden Gate. It wasn't the
Yeah, it
Fort
wasn't.
Miley, but it was
It,
a fort
it was
thing.
more, yeah, towards the Golden Gate
One of
Bridge,
those
and
batteries.
we didn't make it, but I think somehow we found out about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah. It was like at the time it was
think
my first time being interested in DIY spots around then. Like I was taking
same.
notes on
That
that
was
kind of
some of my
stuff.
first kind of
So
some of the first early ones for
so
me.
yeah, I just always lived in a skate house and had cheap rent. Oh, and then I worked at Tomieto, but that just wasn't enough money. So
Sure.
ultimately, Def Brian and Def Alex both worked there. At one point, all my friends worked there. We got 7.25 an hour. We
Damn.
smoked a lot of weed on
Fuck.
our lunch break. We were allowed one board a month and go in
Oh,
this closet
dude,
and pick
that's
a
Seconds.
thing. But and met a lot of pros. Skated with Jamie Thomas and I can't. All of them were there. We had a quarter pipe in the warehouse and just a beer keg we'd alley over all the time. And then we
so. Is it?
ultimately
You
we
said it
all
wasn't downtown? Didn't it eventually
it's
move
at
downtown? Uh,
2001 Commercial is the address, and it's Barrio Logan. And
okay.
it moved a little. The home base headquarters is still there, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But they moved the Silkscreen warehouse over to underneath the Coronado Bridge, right by where that park is, Chicano Park,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
have now built a real skate park. But I used to skate there all the time back in the day when it
Yeah.
wasn't a skate park yet. I loved that spot. Spots
Yeah.
around San
Those.
Diego, I liked. I had a lot of ledge spots that I could actually do ledge tricks on. Amici Park, it was like on First and Front Street on the more north side of town. I don't know, in the Kettner blocks, and I lived there in the days of the Greyhound bumps.
Oh
You
wow.
guys,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Greyhound.
Damn.
I
I
allied the
never got
Greyhound.
to
I
spend
allied
one.
the Greyhound bumps. They weren't there for long, but and now downtown San Diego they built a 60-story condo right where the Greyhound bumps
Oh
were.
wow.
Everything is like a brand new shopping center, brand new Ralph's. Everything's changed, but some of the old spots are still there. And San Diego is just all about saving enough money for the next road trip. Work. I was a bartender, barback. Worked at skateboard factory. I was a carpenter. Framed houses. Got that job through a skate buddy, Jason Coleman. And then I lived with Zerosh's brother, Zubin Eggleston, and I met the Egglestons. Kind of, that's a family that kind of took me in. Zerosh slept on our couch. Their dad would come sleep on our couch. Their brother Rashad, who's a semi-famous musician, the Tree Goblin, he
Hmm.
would come stay on our couch. And I got to know them and would visit their house in Carmel, and learned a lot of, well, then that was like one of my next phases, and the best skateboarder I ever knew in my life was Zerosh Eggleston. That guy could do anything, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys know about him, but
Yeah. I got
Definitely.
a
um,
Yeah.
bunch of
he
coworkers that still go to his property every so often, like a getaway to
yep.
skate and stuff.
So he was a great street skater, great transition pool skater, rolling to the deep end of a pool barefoot that's got water in it and glass and whatever. So then I about 5 years into San Diego, I started missing home, and I missed thunderstorms and snow and weather, and had friends that we would like talk about moving back, and even Brian Werner was living out there with. We lived together at the time. We didn't always live together, but we ended up in a skate house, the last place we lived in San Diego, and we'd sit on the porch and drink beer and just talk about moving back to St. Louis. And then it just happened, you know, we set a date. Actually, we drove back to St. Louis on a big road trip, just me and Brian in my Eddie Bauer edition Blazer. And my mom was like, yeah, you're always talking about moving back here, but are you going to really do it? You need to set a date. And that kind of sunk in my brain. So I was like, how about Thanksgiving? So
what year are we talking here?
That's 2004.
Okay. All right.
Or five. 2004 or five. Sorry. I think five. So we left on like a week before Thanksgiving, drove back on a big skate road trip, of course. And then, well, I had already pre-planned a huge thing. Sarosh went to India, and he came back with tales of a skate park in India where he lived and helped work. And it was like a DIY thing in Goa, India, place I never heard of, but I needed an adventure. I had owned a passport for a few years, and I had never really been anywhere but Mexico at the time. So I had a couple $1,000 saved up, and I'm like, I'm just going to put everything in my mom's basement and go to India to this park that Sarosh told me about. And I emailed the guy there. His name's Nick Smith. And he's like, yeah, he's from England. And he's like, yeah, come on over. So I get there, and it's a longer story, but I get there, and the skateboarders that lived, he had like a hostel. It's an old Catholic church that he turned into like a 6-bedroom, 2 kitchen, 3 bathroom, whatever. Skateboarders living there for $4 a day.
Oh, wow.
A bowl and a half pipe and a staircase with a handrail, and that was about it when I got there. And I was like, all right. After a couple of weeks of making friends, and some of the guys skated for Death skateboards
Over in England.
Out of England.
Yeah, sure.
And I ended up meeting like a bunch of the guys that skate for them, and even Nick Zorlak, the owner of Death Skateboards. I met him in India, and a lot of the guys that skated for them. Lee Blackwell, Mark Munson, Mark Churchill.
What
His
about
name's Churchill.
Richie Jackson? Did you?
I never met him, but they told me stories about him. As far as I know, he's never been to India. But
wait, I don't understand. What's the deal in India, though? Are you guys actually? What's going on there? Like, do they just have a skate park going on?
This guy from England who had connections with Vans, and he's like a Tony Alva age guy, Nick Smith, and he had been going to India for years, and he wanted to bring skateboarding there. He had a beach town in Goa that he liked to frequent, and it's kind of like the Cozumel of Europe, okay, or Europeans and Russians and people from Finland and Sweden. They go to the beach in India as Americans go to the beach in Mexico. It's cheap, it's beautiful.
Do they go wild?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Misbehave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, whoa, we went crazy. I was my last big blowout of my 20s.
Sure, like, got it.
Because I was like 28, 29 when I was there, and we went to parties. I went there as more of like a spiritual adventure, and it ended up just parties, big parties. I didn't do nothing spiritual about it, man. Just and then
so good.
I had helped out a little bit at Washington Street and built a few Jersey barriers. So, and then my dad was a construction guy, and he had me doing concrete as a little kid, like pushing a wheelbarrow. So I was, and the owner over there, Nick Smith, he's like, I want to build more stuff around the bowl and make it like more like Burnside, where you roll out the bowl and flow around. I was like, all right, let's do it. So we started smashing stuff out. A guy named Joe Sandland from Hastings, England. He was actually a pro BMXer and a great skateboarder too. He advocated years later to have this huge skate park built in Hastings, England. And he did a really good video about how they had that built, they fought the city to get it. A lot of good guys that I met over there anyway, and still talk to them this day. We made a video about our whole adventure there. I was there for 4 months.
Wow.
We ended up building a lot of stuff around the skate decks. Then I got in a motorcycle accident and cut my trip short and had to come home
Oh man.
and live in my mom's basement with a broken clavicle and my arm strapped to here for about 6 months.
Oh boy.
And that was from partying, man. And I was skating a lot there too, but we were going out to bars and riding motorcycles. Bad mix.
Yeah,
And
for sure. Yep.
it's pretty typical of Americans go over there and rent a scooter and get in an accident. I hear that about Thailand all the time. So typical American, come back with my arm in a sling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what led me to what I do now.
Well, hold on. This seems like this also segues into Herman's Hole, then, right? You got
Yeah,
a little
it
taste
does.
of building.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So Washington Street,
Yep.
Sarosh's place. I didn't talk about Cuatros Casas, but if you know
Oh,
about
down in
Cuatros
Mexico?
Casas, yeah,
No
these
shit.
are the inspirations for Herman's Hole. And because I got to know Richard, I think his last name's Smith as well. Richard something that owns Cuatros Casas. His dad worked for NASA, bought the land on the beach in Mexico, gave Richard Stevens, that's his last name, gave him the land. Then he had a skate park hostel. He built it there, and we went and camped and stayed at his hostel. And I kind of became friends with that guy. Years later, I gave his family wrestling tickets and came and hung out on our tour bus in San Diego and got drunk. And he drove all the way from 4 hours into Mexico to San Diego to come see some wrestling and hang out with me. So,
awesome.
and then my inspiration was in India. All these
Well,
things
I was wondering
combined.
with Zerosh that he had already started his like
Yeah, so
hole or
he
whatever
started
stuff.
his when Washington Street first made its big comeback.
Okay, yeah.
Zerosh and Luke, can't remember his name, but he was a heavy hitter for the build of Washington Street. Zerosh and Luke would go up and visit his dad's place, Kachawa, out in the middle of nowhere in
Yeah.
the mountains of Carmel Valley. And they built a quarter pipe just, I think, into the dirt, just a quarter pipe with dirt for flat. And that was just to show, like, we could build something to skate out in the middle of nowhere. And hopefully, I mean, they didn't say hopefully, they knew they were going to do something. So it became something. But I went there. I just loved the idea of that place. I went there before they just had a wooden half pipe. I just love the idea of something to skate out. The juxtaposition
Position, yeah.
of bringing skateboarding to the middle of nowhere, and I'm still like an advocate of that. Like, or to bring, I think we all are. You find an abandoned building and you want to build a skate thing in it. Want to bring skateboarding to the darkest little weird corners that we find in our travels. And anyway, or beautiful places on top of a mountain in Zerosh's instance.
Yep.
So that was a huge inspiration. And like, so Richard Stevens in Mexico, his dad owned the property, gave it to him. He built a skate park. Zerosh's dad owns the property. Zerosh shares it with him. He built a skate park. My dad owns this property in Hermann, Missouri since 1987. Me and Def Bryan built a treehouse there when we were kids.
Oh, no way.
When we were 12. I always had dreams of building a half pipe. My dreams were just a wooden half pipe. And then when I was like broke off living in my parents' basement, the broke off shoulder, I started like really collecting pool coping. I was bored. I started getting jobs, which I'll talk about in a second, but mostly I was pool hunting with Chris Lynch and Def Bryan.
Yep.
Because Lynch knew the pools. And that's another guy that knows skateboard ethics, even though like he's a wild, shady, or not, oh, sorry, Chris, not shady, but he can get his opinion. He's a strong opinion guy.
Yeah.
And we've had our quarrels. But man, in the end, like it's almost like he's always right. So like even like for a big of an asshole that he could be, he's knows some skateboard ethics when it comes to spots and just like I don't know, he knows what he's talking about, and he knew his pools. He knew pools in St. Louis that are all the way back to like Ron Hodges skated this pool
Wow.
in 1986. He knew everything. He knew everything. So anyway, and also John Seeger,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Seeger Toyota.
Yeah.
We built a couple things that failed together. Like we had a Jersey Bear spot out in Bridgeton, out in the Missouri bottoms, at a dead
Oh,
end of the dead end under the old St. Charles Bridge, and and I was just looking
Hmm.
for a place to build something. I had the drive, I felt like I had the know-how, and I was looking for something in the city to build something because I didn't want it. I mean, out in the country if we have to, but it really came down to is like if my dad was I said, Dad, can we build a half pipe out here? He's like, yeah, cool. Well, it's going to be concrete. He's like, yeah, I don't care. All right, well, a month later it's going to be a pool. Oh yeah. He's like, you'll never do that. Yeah, sure. So also I had just moved back here and I didn't really know everybody anymore, and
Yeah.
yeah.
You're just kind of doing your
chris
own thing.
chris Lynch knew people. He knew, and Glenn was still here then, and I don't know who was coming out of the woodworks. Just all kinds of people that was kind of inspired in a way. Like Kohler came out there, Dave Kohler, and I never knew so many of these people. Keith
Are,
Reese,
are these people coming
some
out to help build stuff or skate or both?
that was a mix.
Okay.
Some of the people that were coming out to help were the lesser known people, the
Yep.
people I didn't know, and they were like, and then some people were just coming to skate.
Yep.
So we built, the bowl,
When
and
did you
then
guys start build when did you guys start building out there? Let me ask you that. Do you remember?
all right, well, yes. First of all, April 2007. So first of all, my shoulder healed up. Got back from uh, Chris Lynch got me a job with California skate parks. I went to Maryland, built a few parks, learned a few things, drove back with all the leftovers from the skate park, truck full of coping,
Oh wow.
all kinds of stuff. I had a wheelbarrow on top. California skate parks would just fly people in, buy a bunch of stuff, and throw it all away because they're from California and we're in Maryland. So drive back with all that stuff and store it down at the farm. Um, where was I? Anyway, we started building down there. Oh, I got a job. Then California skate parks kind of fizzled out for me, and I had learned about Dega Catering, who went on tour with bands, and I was like, well, that sounds more interesting, than skate park building. Even though I'm a skateboarder, I want to be on tour with rock stars. So it was a fight, and it took a while, but I finally got a job with them. And next thing I know, I went on a few country tours. Next
Yep.
thing I know, it's August 13th, 2007, and it's my first day with WWE. And that's what I didn't know, but that was the gravy train. Like I was instantly making good money if I kept the job, and it was not ending. Knock on wood, right?
Yep.
And now 20 years later, I'm still with them, but almost 20 years. So then it was time. I'm living in mom's basement, and suddenly I got $15,000 in my bank account, and I want to build something to skate. So it's like, let's build a bowl at my dad's farm.
Hmm.
And Chris Lynch had been working for Team Pain, um, and he had some connections. And Soup was living in San Diego, and he had been building a lot of concrete stuff. And he flew for free because he worked for American Airlines. He flew out probably 3 times and stayed for a week each time when we were building the initial bowl, and helped a ton. Uh, Brian Brian Patton who owns his own little skate thing in Springfield, Illinois. He helped a ton with the carpentry. He's a carpenter. A lot of people more came out of the woodworks after we established a bowl and really showed like we're doing this.
Yeah, so the bowl was the first thing built.
The
Yes.
first thing,
The
bowl,
thing right in
big,
the center. Yep.
yeah, big
Okay.
pool. And then Soup came to visit one time, like a few months later, and we had poured decks around the bowl, and he had said like, kind of surprised you haven't built more. Only a few months later, I'm like, Soup's like that, and he can like spark a rivalry or something in me.
Just
Like it's
get you
like,
fired up.
yeah, like okay, I'll show you what I can do then. All right, then you're gonna talk to me like that. All right, then it was. I was down there every weekend building, working. I didn't care if I was by myself. Later, I found out things went quicker and smoother when I did work by myself. Um, I, I bought this house that we're in right now in November of 2008. So just in
Yeah, are you in
from
Herman now? Are you
no, I'm
you're
in St. Louis.
you're in St. Louis. Okay.
Just in August of 2007 to November of 2008, I saved enough money to build the bowl plus a down payment for my house. And my mom was a realtor at the time, and I found this house just driving by here in the Shaw, the stone's throw away from Tower Grove Park. One of my favorite spots, and the fountain,
Oh
which was
yeah.
my skate park. That was my skate park in 1994. That was like I thought that was a skate park in 1994. This is the closest thing we had. Um,
And you're talking about the older version, right? With the hips,
oh
the like
yeah.
the
Oh, you
hips
guys
of.
got any
Yeah.
pictures of that? I'd like to see it because I almost don't
I don't.
remember it, but I
I have.
remember it
I know
being
I have
different.
video of me there, but I don't have pictures.
We used to go there a ton. That was like the
Yeah.
summertime spot, just like always there.
I remember it being different, but I just don't really remember exactly how it was different. But I
Yeah. I
so
just. I know. Never remember when it changed, but that's okay. Let's move along. Yeah.
can't remember what the fuck I
But,
was talking about,
well,
dude.
you got a house right
Yeah,
by
you bought
that
your house
that
and the
Oh,
bowl
spot.
within a year.
right. 2008. It was the. I remember the city being
Oh
really
shit.
happy because Obama got elected. It was November 2008, and Obama won the election, and the city was just like different. It was like everybody was happy and loved each other all of a sudden. It was like I
Yes,
don't
I
know if
remember.
it
It
wasn't
was
like that, and it was the house.
yeah.
It was the housing market crash. But since I worked in entertainment, my wages, I didn't feel anything. Like entertainment keeps going when everything goes to
Yeah.
Right.
shit. Entertainment never stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I bought this house, and Ben Goki was my first roommate, and
Oh no way. He lived there?
I
Oh,
love
that's
Ben. I
right,
love Ben,
dude.
but
Yeah.
we've had our ups and downs. I love Ben, but we weren't great roommates. It was more like I learned a lot about Ben from that, and I love you, Ben. Let's skate sometime. Come over. He's a ripper, and he was my first. And so many people lived here. So
I
Ben,
yeah, yeah. A lot of
so I was out.
skaters in that
I was
room.
I was working in Portland, Oregon, and went to Burnside and met Chet Childress, who I had met before, and I talked to him and I showed him a picture of the bowl I was building in Herman, or I'd already built, and I was just moved into this house, and Ben was my roommate. And then I'm flying home, and I'm like, there must be some bridge in St. Louis we can build a skate park under. I know there is. I was like daydreaming about it. I get home, and Ben's like, hey, these high school kids are pouring a Jersey barrier down under the bridge right over there, Kings Highway Bridge. And I'm like, I didn't really know. I probably drove through there and did a U-turn,
Yeah.
but I didn't really know.
Yep.
And then Ben told me about it, and I met Kyle Crandall and Adam McKee, and they didn't really know what they were doing. They had like taken some bags of concrete from their dad's garage and built the first Jersey barrier. And I went and skated what they built. It was pretty cool, and met a lot of those bridge kids. And it was like 4th of July weekend, 2009. Me and Chris Lynch on 4th of July set up actual wood forms under the bridge for the first quarter pipe against the wall.
Oh wow.
Then Soup flew into town, and I think some bad business had happened where we weren't talking to Chris all of a sudden. We always had little quarrels or something. And then me and Soup poured the quarter pipe without Chris there, and he was really mad because he was like, I helped set it up. And it's like, well, really, we just didn't want to drive to pick him up because we were drinking beer or something. Um, it was me and Def Bryan and Soup and Cameron Jones, and we built a quarter pipe attached to that, a quarter pipe attached to that, and then the love seat section. And I love just going out there by myself and setting up a section. I would just like be down there with my pliers, rebarring, and setting up forms out of junk and crap. And people would come by and be like, "Why don't you build a staircase or a handrail?" I'm like, "Well, there's plenty of room, and you guys can do that. I envision like a bowl up at this end, so I'm just
Yeah.
tinkering away at that. And I would get a lot of people like, "No, you should build what I'm envisioning over here. Why are you
Oh,
doing that?"
it's
And
so
it turned,
fun when you got tools in your hands building something. Somebody's like, "Yeah, why don't you do this?"
Yeah,
and it's still to this day, man. Like last time I tried to do anything at Morgan Ford, somebody was just like, "I can't believe you're doing that when you should be doing what I'm thinking of." And then I was just like, "All right, I quit. I'm only working on stuff in my own backyard."
yeah.
Or like, if you have something going on, I'll come help you, but I can't be. I'm very. So then Kings Highway happened, and then
It's all good.
people wanted to make a nonprofit organization, and to me that was the downfall of the whole thing because I wasn't that kind of guy. I'm more like a creative. I get creative spurts constantly, and
Yep.
I just want to run out the door and do it. I'm not being
Try,
organized.
trying
I'm
to have
not.
a meeting regarding what needs to be done, type of thing.
I call that playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like we're not playing Dungeon or Chris Lynch used to say playing skate park. Like yeah, it's like you're at a table, a meeting, and you're drawing what you want, and you're playing skate park. It's like a Monopoly or a
Yeah.
game. It's like you're not
Yeah.
doing
I mean,
anything. I mean, sure, and I'm not saying there are
the
ribbon.
intentions are, yeah, you
Yeah,
get why you'd want to try to get, yeah, like a
there,
generator going,
there's
basically.
people that get the ribbons cut, people that
Yeah.
get the ribbons cut, and there's people that do the paperwork. And Tim Jameson and Harms and Brian Beck, the lawyer for
Yeah.
KHVT, those guys did put in a lot of paperwork. And Harms is a librarian, and Tim Jameson is an insurance guy, and they know these numbers and words, and they can do that stuff. But me, I'm a builder.
Yeah.
I barely do my taxes, dude. Like I just learned to pay all my bills online. Like I'm not
It's a
I'm
neat
not
setup once you get there.
so they did put me in charge of the construction, but then after a while they just kind of quit listening to me, and I was drifted away and I quit KHVT because I'm just more of a like I want to go out in the middle of the night with a parking block and a bag of concrete and make something weird that I thought of in my head.
Yep.
Or like set up a huge bowl pour and call in my buddies from Oregon and try to get Soup to fly
Yeah.
out.
And
And I've
that's a great
done,
part of your land because you can do that and not worry about
yeah,
whatever,
I'm a weirdo
Karen
because
getting upset.
it's a little bit weird and embarrassing because, like, and it's not embarrassing. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed." I love my life and everything I've done. But like I'm not even like a great skateboarder, and I own two skate parks. I have one in each. I have one in my backyard right here in St. Louis, and then I have one out in Hermann, Missouri, and then down here in the basement I got this little concrete stuff. It's just because
Dude, yeah.
I'm creative and I can't stop.
Yeah.
And if I don't have if we had Burnside or if we had the bridge, and I had the free creative go ahead and not somebody on my back like telling me, go, no, I want you to go build this. I would be there. If I had a different palette, I would be here and building here. I have dreams
Right.
of things I want to
Yeah.
build still at Morgan Ford. And by the way, did you see that little ashtray bowl they built next to Washington Street on the railroad
Dude,
tracks?
yeah.
I
I have
just saw
not.
that yesterday. I
I
just saw that
did.
yesterday.
It looks like my old ass might want to try to roll around again.
Wait, next
So
to next to where? Washington Street?
Washington
So the
Street
little
in San
parking lot
Diego.
that was sort
Oh,
of
okay.
only for the OGs, technically. Talk about ethics. I knew mine there.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
good.
couldn't park there if you weren't an
Right.
OG.
And
And
even Soup wouldn't park there, or he did later, but he didn't always park there because he
yeah,
respected that.
but they took up some of that parking space with the
Man, I
it
didn't
looks
even
like it
know.
looks rad.
I'm so out of the loop. I didn't even know that that was being
I
built
think it's
or
pretty new.
just popped up.
I stare too
And
much at Instagram, and I just noticed it probably like a couple days ago or something.
I have
I don't know.
dreams for something like that at Morgan Ford, like between that new shipping
Nice.
container and the where that
Yeah,
opening
yeah,
and the fence is,
Yeah, dude.
blow out
Yeah.
into a little mini bowl. That's more my speed, low impact skating these days.
for
So
sure.
I'm
Yeah. Well, you
finding
got
homes for parking blocks and
yeah.
Is is Herman's holes done?
no
Okay.
done. What do you mean done? Like no more life or no more build?
No more build.
Well, the dream's still there, just not the funds. I have two kids, and I gotta put my money where it's more important. But
It's a lot of
Yeah.
time too, man.
Yeah.
It's like
Driving back and forth, right?
a few years ago, Elliot Anderson from the Foxhole and
yeah, these are rad.
Woody Hayes from the
Yeah,
Foxhole.
Woody Hayes, yeah.
And the Foxhole is the Washington Street of the St. Louis area. It's, I mean, if
I've
you ever
still
been
never
there,
gone, but I
I haven't been enough. I haven't
dude,
been even since like
I
the whole.
remember when Casey was still with us, Chris Casey, he went a couple times and I was always like, dude, I want to go. I want to go. He's like,
You got
dude, you
Pat
got no
up
business.
or
You got
something.
no business going there, man.
Well, there's some low
Because he knows
impact stuff.
I can't skate shit higher than my head. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's
fuck.
where I'm at now. I'm gonna pad up and cruise around as fast as I can, and maybe get a slash grind. But I mean,
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not.
I got,
That place is huge.
yeah.
So we formed up some stuff out at Herman's Hole,
Hmm.
which I changed the name to the Missouri Vortex over time, for a lot of different reasons. But like the Herman's Hole was kind of like somebody put that name on it. It
I
wasn't
see.
for me. And
Yeah,
then over time, like things like phones wouldn't work there,
Yeah.
cars would break down, and we started saying, I jokingly said it's an energy vortex and weird things happen. And then somebody coined it the vortex. So then I thought Missouri Vortex had a better ring to it. Then actually made an LLC, and that is my LLC for my freelance for what I do now. I
Oh,
have
nice.
a Missouri
Missouri Vortex.
Vortex LLC, and that's how I do my taxes as a freelance operator. But
Contractor.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's not done in building either. I ripped down a wall. I just do it slower now. I tore down a wall and I want to build a pool hall with my pool table in it. Um,
Oh, at
it's
the spot, like on
yeah,
site. Fuck
dude,
yeah,
that'd be
dude.
yeah,
rad.
and
Yeah.
eventually, Red Bull might give me $100,000, and I can see, envision like a whole corner connecting the dots where you enter the park.
Yeah.
And there's new ideas all the time. I could be sitting down there and think of new ideas. I'm not gonna, I'm not ordering concrete trucks for 800 to $1,000 a day like I used to. Like it was no problem. It was like, yeah, concrete on Wednesday and concrete's gone up with inflation. But I
Fuck
mean, I
yeah,
used to
that's yeah.
spend an average of $800 for a whole truck of concrete would do a nice big section.
Hey,
And
let me ask you this. Is this available for booking?
Herman's Hole.
The Missouri Vortex.
Well, like, what does it say? Is that what website are you looking at? There's a
Hey,
guy on Skate Airbnb, Skate
yes.
BNB. I don't really know that guy very well. Don't even know if I ever met him, but
Can you book it?
he really wanted me to be on Airbnb or
Okay.
Skate BNB. He just really wanted it. It took me like a year to get him some pictures and info,
Yep.
and I just let him make some content. I mean, if you wanted to, I've let people have weddings there, and
It looks like the going
you
rate is
know,
$99 a night. Is that legit for someone to hit you up or no?
I'm not doing it. If you want
Okay. Okay.
Dude,
Just
people,
ask.
I
so
don't think you should fucking run that.
this is the thing.
Did the people that got married, did they skate?
Yeah, it's Kyle Crandall and Chloe,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah,
they
yeah.
had their
Well,
wedding there, and
rad.
I was in Puerto Rico, and they had a
Okay.
huge blowout party, and my dad and my uncle were there, but I wasn't. Bad
Yeah.
Bunny invited me to Puerto Rico for a show, so I had to go do that. I was
All
getting
right.
paid to work, but I was like, I'm going
Not a
to
bad deal.
Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I missed. I wish, and in some ways, I wish I was there because was the last time my good friend Zach Del Cortivo was ever there, and
Man.
and like
Yeah.
whatever. We
Rest
had
in
so many good
peace.
times there over the years.
Yep.
So many good times. I met so many people from around the world, and I inspired a lot of people to do backyard things around the world. There are people. There's a Jeremiah Risk in Palm Springs had a whole compound in his backyard inspired by my place, and he used to come out. He was a guy I met through WWE. He was a truck driver for WWE
Oh wow.
from Palm Springs. He's friends with Salba. He found the Nude Bowl when he was 14. He's a little older than me. Total ripper, vert ripper, truck driver. He worked for WWE for a stint, and we traveled around America. We skated all like Montana, Idaho. Zach and Zach Del Cortivo, Def Bryant, Cam Jones were with me on those trips, and some other guys I can't. Yeah, we went to Skatopia. We went to all these different places, Midwest and the West Coast, Texas, and inspired people to build stuff like they think they call it the Hell Bowl in Tucson, Jesse Dent's place with the coffin doorway and the bus attached. The
Oh,
General's
wow.
compound in Illinois, Springfield, Illinois. I get people. Oh, there's a place in Bellingham, Washington. Josh Knapp. He used to live in Columbia, Missouri. He's like
Hmm.
a scientist or something, and he moved to Bellingham now. And he started building a thing out in the woods. And I have people randomly will text me a picture of something, and they're like, "I built this because I got the idea from you." You know,
Nice.
down in Arkansas, the Dump and Grind. That was a DIY spot on like a hippie commune,
Well,
and
definitely, got me motivated to build my little. I got a few things in my backyard finally, but I've been had that in the
yeah, I
head
saw
for
that. That
many
looks rad.
years.
That looks awesome,
The-
and I love that the
And
people are
definitely,
doing that.
like you're a big part of the King's Highway Bridge, man. And I I was out of town when I didn't live here when it starts. I moved back to St. Louis, but man, I didn't realize until several years of being around it, like how much the people that visited were like blown away by it. And like,
Yeah,
dude, like,
I remember when you moved
yeah,
back, we had a little skate session, and White Andy Weissman,
Hmm.
uh, Ryan Brinkman, yourself, and myself, and I don't know who else was with us. Maybe Brendan Sullivan or somebody, and we skated at the bridge. And you had just moved back, or you were thinking about moving back, or you moved back and your
there were
wife
some
hadn't
trips.
moved back
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
She was
yeah.
like still
It was,
finishing her job. Anyway,
yeah.
you kept saying there's so many good people and good spots here these days. And then we went and skated behind that whatever behind Home Depot, that steep bank spot.
Oh
And
my
that's
God, I
where
remember this day.
Weissman took a picture of Brinkman. It was
Yeah,
in a Weissman zine where he ollied
yeah,
all the way up to the top of the bank and did a pivot and then rolled
yeah.
down. A very simple trick, but pretty. I mean, Ryan
Really
was the
cool.
kind of guy that could do a very simple trick, and it was awesome because it was Brinkman. He could be very technical and tricks. I seen
Yeah.
him. I was like talking about a switch crooked grind down a whole flat bar one day. I was like, I bet you could switch crooked grind that whole flat bar, and he just did it first try. But then he'd do things like Texas plants on a Jersey barrier. Like, how do
Oh
you know
yeah.
about a Texas plant? You're like 19, and
Yeah.
it's 2009 at
That's
the time,
yeah.
and
That
nobody's
caught my
touching their
eye.
boards. I liked that era when like it was Welcome came out,
Yeah.
Welcome skateboards, and it was
Yep.
like okay to grab your boards and put your feet on the
Yeah.
ground again. They kind of, and weird boards and weird styles came back. And
I was
Brinkman,
happy for the next like Brinkman's generation, him,
yeah.
Adam, like they had
Oh
they had
wait,
no worries about like, oh, they just fucking it was so cool, man. Like to
we
see
kind
that.
of with
Like
the bridge,
like
we trained some kids on pool coping and
Sounds like
DIY
it.
things, and
Yeah.
some of those
it
kids
turned
went on
in
to.
turned into people's careers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Some like Elliot Anderson and
Mm-hmm.
Stockton, Nick Stockton,
Yep.
are concrete finishers and skate
And
park
like
builders, and more than
McKee's
that. And McKee
doing
is a builder.
heavily. Yeah,
He could do anything he wants, and he's doing
yeah.
whatever he wants.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And the bridge came and went, and at the end, I kind of just like it was. I was growing out of partying, and it was just
Yeah, I remember that.
so
I
much
remember that,
partying
yeah.
and graffiti down there. And if I went down there, I would get sucked into drinking a 12 pack of Bush. So I just kind of started keeping my distance because I just didn't want to go home blackout drunk anymore from skate park. You know, I was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just like impressionable. Maybe my fault, not blaming anybody. Just like I go down there, skate a little bit, get thirsty, and just sit on the curb and drink.
Sure, it's gonna
And it
happen.
Well, dude, there'd
started to
be
get
like four fucking 12 packs sitting in coolers
yeah,
at all times. It's
it
like fucking
started to
real
get
easy to
where
do.
if I drive out to Hermann and go to my own place, I can just be completely creative with no influence and just do what I want. And then I would do text chains and invite people out. And you guys might have been on the text chain sometimes. And
Yeah.
that was before social media. You know, I would just like 15 people on one group text, and hey, I'm out here this weekend, and and those were the best times. And so this house, I was written to skaters and people from the bridge I met, and there were up to 6 people living here, and I didn't even have a room. I was living out at the farm and at Herman's Hole for a while. I didn't pay mortgage here for 10 years because so many people are living here, you know?
I didn't realize you
Yeah.
had that many people living there. I thought it was just always
Oh,
been your place and that's it.
so many different, like, Drew Excorn. I
Generations.
never say his
I
name right, but Drew, I love you, bro. Um,
think he's out in Germany.
yeah, I want to get a tattoo from him when I'm in Germany sometime. So that's the first time I told you that, Drew. You get a tattoo. Um,
He might hold you to
and
it.
Adam McKee lived here for a while, and Adam Ellen lived here for a while, and just
Yeah, I don't
like a
know.
lot of can't even remember, like drawing a blank, but everybody, a lot of people lived
Yeah.
Yeah.
here. And Nemo, he
Yeah,
was always
Neiman,
at the
yeah.
bridge,
Heck
which is
yeah.
weirdly, he lived in San Diego when I did, and we street skated together. And remember in front of Hamels, everybody would skate in the street and just do tricks in Mission Beach in front of
I didn't
Hamels.
really go to
Anyway,
Mission Beach much. Yeah.
yeah, I skated with him there though. He always did weird half flips and Casper flips,
No
and
way.
and so yeah, when I came back from India, bought the house. So yeah, into WWE. I already explained that to you, and yeah, Herman's Hole went big, and then so through Jeremiah Risk, the truck driver, vert skater, park ripper, who was from Palm Springs. Jeremiah, love you, bro. I sound like Sal Orlando. By the way, I've watched all your guys'
All
episodes,
right, dude.
I know everybody, but except for there's a couple guys I didn't know that well.
That's the idea.
Who was the first guy? I can't remember his name now.
Jason
Very
Sides.
Jason Sides, very inspirational. He don't know who I am from anybody, but he was a little older than me, and I remember seeing him at the demos skating transition,
Yeah,
and I was like
dude.
inspired by his like back disasters and
Yep.
stuff, like
Dude ripped a mini ramp.
very powerful. Like he would do a back
Yeah.
disaster and like, oh, stomp
Yeah.
on it and smash the whole ramp. He's the one that wore
Yeah.
flannel all the time, right?
I'm
You wear flannel.
sure. Probably. Yeah.
And then so that's like I don't know everybody, but when I watch your episode, I feel like I get to know him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and I knew I've known Sal for 20 years, and then I haven't talked to Sal in years, but after listening to his episode, it made me text him. You know, and
Yeah,
the same
cool.
with Tim
Yeah.
Jameson. Made me text Jim. I know Tim Jameson for 25, 30 years. I listened to the episode. I'm like, I need to text Jameson and tell him to come over and skate sometime. And everybody that I've listened to, I saw Scotty Laird 2 days after I saw the episode.
Oh, no way.
I met up with him
Sick.
and Nanda out at the hole, and we skated. That was the last
Oh,
time I was
sick.
there. That was
Yeah.
a month, or I don't like to admit that I haven't been there in a long time, but I'm probably going there tomorrow. But anyway, I get lost. I'm like, I just talk, yap. Why don't you
Dude,
guys
it's
ask
been
me
great.
anything
Dude.
I've missed? I know I missed a lot. Oh,
Well, so you say you haven't been out there in a month, so it'll be you should show up and there's usually a lot of cleanup you got to do. Is
yeah,
that like the first day?
just tree debris,
If
but
you want to
Yeah.
skate it,
There's been
if
a
you
yeah,
bunch
want
of
to skate.
storms and stuff lately, so I got to think there's shit all over the place, right?
yeah, but we cleaned it real good about a month ago, and it's been summer, so there's not a lot
Yeah,
falling.
yeah.
But storms, there probably is some stuff. So
So, all right, let's do it then.
I wrote a
What
yeah. Go ahead.
maybe it's traumatic, but what's let's get to juice on Skate Rock. Skate
Oh
Rock
no,
comes
it's not
through.
traumatic. It was traumatic at one point, but it's not traumatic anymore. That's what I was about to get to. So Jeremiah Riss, the guy I met from WWE, had a lot of connections in skateboarding. He's good friends with Mark Waters. So Mark Waters kind of knew that Jeremiah had been traveling around America and doing things in the Midwest. So he asked him, I think, about my place specifically, and Jeremiah just gave him my number. And he might have warned me. He's like, Mark Waters is going to call you and ask you if they can do skate rock there. And at
When you
first,
say
I was
wait, when you say do skate rock, just come up and show up and skate, or like plug in, we're gonna play a show.
both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. Yeah, they sold it as more of a demo than a show, but the show was definitely always there. They sold it as more of a camping and a demo, like a tent city um, thing. So Mark called me a few times, and we made the plan. He seemed. I never even mentioned that I worked for Tomieto and knew him back in the day. Never told him that. I don't think I ever told him that. I don't even know if I put together that he was the same Mark Waters at the time, because I was like, now he's the team manager for Skate Rock. He was like the marketing manager for Tomieto. I don't understand like how is he the same guy? I don't know, but he was. I think. There's no other
Yeah, most
Mark
likely.
Waters in the
Yeah.
skateboard
Yeah, no,
industry.
that's the same dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was always kind of distrusting, and I don't want to disrespect Mark in any way.
Yeah.
Everything turned
Yeah.
out good in the end, but he, of course, he was bringing his crew with music instruments and whatever else they had, and so he called me a lot and was just like, "We're gonna show up. You're gonna be there, right?" It was like always kind of like didn't know if it was for real, and I was more like, well, it must be for real if this guy's so worried. I was not bewildered by them coming. I was just like, they're coming. They're
Yeah.
coming. They're coming. So we did a bunch of construction out there in preparation for them to come. We set up Glenn's Blue Ramp, and we did mostly focused on that. And we had a handrail coming down from the stage.
What?
Like
Jesus.
from the stage that they were playing on, we had like an I-beam handrail that I made
Nice.
that people actually skated, and Jeff Raleigh actually tore the handrail out. The guys, a lot of them raged way harder than I thought they would. Like they were kind of like pirates in a way, like they were just scavenging for any drugs, alcohol,
Well,
women,
dude, the night
anything that they could find. And
the
not all of
night
them were bad, I'd have to say.
they came from the bridge
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Herman. I saw them leave,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I almost
I didn't
went
know that till later, but
and they left like a full case of beer on accident because they were so blown out already, just buried in the multiple other boxes of beer that they'd left that were empty. Like in
mm-hmm.
that pile was like a pretty much a full one. So even though I kind of wanted to go and was bummed I didn't, I was like, oh damn, there's a 30 bucks of beer right here. This is awesome.
Well, there were 300 people there, and if you told me you were there, I would be like, yeah, I remember you being there.
No, I almost did, and something told me I don't know. I don't think I should go.
I know Randy was there. Randy Placer was there, and even in the late wee hours of the morning that night, I'm like, is this how me and Randy are talking? And I'm like, is this how pro skaters act? And he's like, yeah. Just kind of like, yeah. And I had that. I was shocked by so many of the antics. But let's talk about some of the good ones.
Yeah.
Sammy
Like,
Baca was really humble. Um, Sammy Baca, very nice and humble. The
was he
Nuge,
skating a lot? Was Sammy
no,
Baca skating? Yeah.
no,
Okay.
just hanging out, but very nice
Yeah.
and humble.
Yeah.
Jaws, very nice and humble. Riley Hawk, nice, humble guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, the Nuge, quiet, nice, humble, nothing, no antics. If they were, they was like hidden. Um, who was the guy that won Skater of the Year from Columbia that year?
David Gonzalez.
Dave Gonzalez.
Yeah.
David.
He showed up out of van, shredded it, ripped it. I didn't know he could skate vert, doing a giant stalefish out of the bowl. There's a picture of that online somewhere. I think Keith Whetstone took. Um, he shredded it, and Tony T was really nice. Jeff Phelps was super nice. Asked me a million questions. We talked for hours. Later, he got on my nerves a little bit, but I didn't know. I
Jake
didn't
Phelps,
know.
I think.
Yeah, I didn't know that much about Thrasher being like. I always thought they were just like, nice people and skated. Later, people were like, "What'd you expect? It's Thrasher Skate Rock." I was like, I didn't expect that. Like, they were shooting off fireworks at people, and it's so far from like now that it's hard to remember. But it was just like it was
Yeah, I'd
like
always heard it was super
in the
wild.
movie The Gremlins, where the Gremlins are in the bar and Phoebe Cates is bartending, and they're all doing something bad, and she's just like playing whack-a-mole, like, stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing this, stop doing that. This is
Is that what
before
you
I
were
had kids.
doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, stop this. Stop. Don't light that on fire. Don't hit that tent with a rake. Stop trying to steal that guy's girlfriend. Don't shoot bottle rockets at that kid. You know, quit doing this, quit doing that. And Mark Waters is like, somebody stole a guitar and an amp. Later they
Oh
found
shit.
it. Nobody stole anything. He was chasing
Yeah.
me around, accusing me of stealing stuff. And then later they found it. Nobody stole anything. It was just like a lot of stress. And oh
Yeah.
man, I needed Xanax that night. And I've never been a pill popper. And I didn't even know I needed Xanax that night. But I know now. I was like, oh man. And
Beta blocker.
Phelps wanted a fire
Okay.
like 6 feet high right off the stage. And I'm a very person to oblige people's wants and needs. So I made a burn barrel, like right in the mosh pit. There was a burn barrel. So then during the show, I'm just protecting people from the burn barrel from getting burnt. I guess they just throw people in burn barrels and let them burn. I saw a full, complete skateboard get thrown in the burn barrel. People were shooting mortar rounds at people, like right point blank.
Jesus.
This I didn't know who he was, but I think it was Clive Dixon. That video came out the next weekend that was free in Thrasher, where Clive Dixon was doing all the gap to handrail stuff. Remember that video with and the guy from Oklahoma with the wrist brace? Remember that video? That guy rips. Clint Walker. No, Clint.
Yeah, Clint
Clint
Walker. Yep.
from Oklahoma.
Something.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Clive Dixon, I'm sorry, Clive, if you see this, you probably won't. But he was foaming out the mouth and beating on a tent with a rake. And I was just like, it's when I realized, like, these guys are on a different something. Like, I'm just like smoke a little weed and drink a beer. I'm not an absorber of other things. I did a lot of
The
acid
energy
when I
was
was a teenager, but I'm pretty mellow, and I was then even. I was like, hey man, a 6-pack of beer and a joint, and I'm good. I'm not like that big of a partier. And they were partying. And P Stone was there, and he was cool. He remembered me. I met P Stone on Orcas Island
oh, that's right.
years before. And throughout the years, so many people I've met, like Dan Drehobel, I met on Orcas Island with the Creature team years ago. This is like 2001. And then I meet Dan under the bridge on that Elwood tour here at Kings Highway Bridge. This might have been before you moved back, Matt. But Dan said, blah, 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 JP. I ran into Dan another time in Denver, and he just knew my name. And people are like, wow, Dan knows your name. I'm like, whatever. That's just easy letters to remember. I think it's not like we're best friends or anything. But
Yeah, it's cool though.
Skate Rock,
Skate
Look at
Rock,
that.
yeah.
chapter
So
in the Vortex.
it was crazy, and
Skate
so many
Rock's
crazy
in the
things about
books.
that night. I rented a Bobcat because the road was so messed up. People were getting stuck, and Soup drove the Bobcat for like 20 hours straight. And the Thrasher team showed up and got stuck in the river right away. Soup drove up with the Bobcat and just lifted the van and pushed their van across the river. And Andy Roy tells that story in some interview. He's like, we showed up and this guy with a tractor lifted up our van and pushed us across the river. And then so I made and like it was never about making money, but they did get like $1,800 off the gate from that, $1,800. But all of that was spent on the event too. The Bobcat rental alone was $1,100, and then
Dude,
like the preparation
it would
for
go
other.
into like a fucking 14-foot section of your huge giant skate park. So yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
I wasn't
dude,
ever about making money, but we
yeah,
did have a party every year, and that was the party that year. And a lot of them were good, and some of them were rainy, and but I mean, Jeff Rasp or Scotty won every year. We'd have a contest
God,
out
those
there,
guys,
Nice.
fuck, man,
Yeah.
yeah.
and even Soup won best trick on the bowl contest once because he put in a lot of work there. But he also rolled into the deep end of the bowl and
Yeah, it's psycho.
Yeah,
grinded
it
over
is.
the front side grind of the death box like in one
Jesus.
line. And I don't know what other questions you guys got. Anything? I know we're going pretty late. There's a lot
Yeah,
more to
you
tell.
had,
Let me show you
you
some
had,
pictures here real quick.
All right, let's do a
you
couple.
had
I
a
got to
All right.
great
wrap it up.
story.
I lived in
Yeah,
San Diego by the beach, and I had this mini ramp in my backyard.
dude,
Soup
wow.
Soup helped me build that, and Sam Hitz and Darren Navarrete would come over and skate. They lived up the street, and a couple other guys.
Super
Uh,
sick.
That looks
EJ
incredible.
Griffin. This is Danny Way bailing his kickflip backside grind that was in the DC video, but I probably have a make, but I like the bail better because it's not a good photo.
Is
But he
that
was actually mad at us for not yelling at him that day. We would run into pros everywhere when I lived in San Diego.
is that Pala Pool or
Um,
Pella Pool or
yeah,
something?
Pala Pool.
Yeah.
Hey, who's that guy? Wolf versus Hawk. Eric? No. What's his name?
Jason Ellis?
Jason Ellis. He was with them that day. He's in the background standing on the stairs somewhere. And that's Zubin standing there, Zubin Eggleston. Jason Ellis did a pivot fakie like on the corner of this, and that was it was on the cover of a Big Brother or something like that.
Hmm.
Maybe it was an automatic. I don't know if you know. This is
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a SD mag, right?
camping at Baldy
Okay.
back in the days when I lived in San Diego, and we just go on adventures all the time. That's Soup taking a selfie there. There's these are out of chronological order, but that's my backyard when I'm like 12.
I
And
love
that's my
it.
friend Tony. And I did some street skating back in the day. That's a Wally board slide in Oceanside. I always
Heck
liked
yeah.
being from St. Louis, but skating in San Diego. I was like the crusty spot guy because I wasn't that good. I'm never like not the great technical skater, but give me something like crusty and kind of hard to skate. In San Diego, I was like, oh, I got this. Okay. You know, or
Right.
land like a rail that lands in the dirt and you got to roll away in the dirt. I was in photography school for a while and really into taking night shots. And I always liked I just
Dude,
picked
that's
some
gnarly.
photos out of that's Alex Brand and
Yeah.
first try
Double
board slide at
double kink.
SDSU.
Yeah.
And well, that's all I got right now. I just
Rad.
didn't want to soak up too much time. I have a lot of photos. These are just some in
Dude, it's
here, but
been
Holy shit.
great.
I have tons of footage, photos from high eight.
Dude, throw those things up on Instagram, man. What the
I
hell?
know. I think I told Matt even back when you were making the Bridge Life video or something. maybe it wasn't Matt, but I said like I got all this footage and I'm gonna start like putting it together, and I still haven't. I got just
Yeah.
shoe boxes full of tapes. I need to buy a mini DV, uh, just player recorder, not even
Yeah,
have
it makes
a
your life
camera.
easier.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need. I just don't
but
really
those are
have. I don't even
expensive,
have a.
man.
I don't even have a video camera that plays mini DVs or
Yeah.
high or anything anymore. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
you
even
can
know where
find
to
them. You can
start.
find the cameras to
I
use as a
never.
player.
I edited and filmed skate videos from deaf skateboards to a lot of Zerosh's part in the death skateboard video. And when New Order was going on and Decline from
Hmm.
Tomieto and all the travels and footy and stuff, I've never made a YouTube account. I don't even have a YouTube account. I do have a Vimeo account from the Herman's Hole days, and I have a bunch of Herman's Hole videos on there, but I'd never made a YouTube. I'm thinking about making one and
You should, man.
Yeah.
start
Yeah,
doing it again.
got a
Get
lot
some of
of
that stuff up.
good
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Oh, I'd like to say one thing.
Yeah.
You know how people these days, and this is just like a small claim, but when you turn 40, you do 40 tricks for your 40th birthday. I think I might have started that. Okay. So me and Soup, Scott Campbell, were visiting the Death Skateboard team in London on Soup's 30th birthday. His 30th birthday was our first day in London, and we hadn't met up with the guys yet. We were meeting them the next day. My buddy Harith Pachi is his name. He gave me a map to all the skate spots in London. So we're out and we're at a park, and I was like, "Soup, it's your 30th birthday. We got a nice video camera. I want to film you do 30 tricks on your 30th birthday." So we did it, and he made a video, and it's on Soup's YouTube. And I had never heard of anybody doing that at the time. And I got the idea from reading an article about Jack LaLanne, who's a fitness guru, who used to do things on his birthday every year. He like on his 80th birthday, he swam across the Long Island Channel, towing 80 boats behind him. No shit, look it up. Jack LaLanne. He was a fitness guy,
Yeah, I
not
know
a
the dude.
skateboarder, but he did crazy things on his birthday, crazy stunts that equaled the number of his age. So that's how I equated it to Soup's birthday on his 30th. And then when my 30th rolled around, I skated 30 miles on my 30th birthday because I was broke off. I had just gotten that motorcycle wreck and I had 5 breaks in this. Tennis courts were still going then. I skated. I used to live in Mike Cozart's old house on Lafayette and Clem. I rented a room from there.
Yeah, dude, I remember that.
I skated from there to the Arch, then the Arch to Creefport Lake, and that roughly
Yeah, didn't you
equals
bomb
30
the
miles.
hill
Yeah, at
in
the
the
end,
video?
but there's a
Dude,
little cheat there. I used like hard street wheels, and the street's
oh,
really
that
rough.
don't fuck that though.
But
That's a gnarly hill.
street being rough slowed me down. It just
Yeah,
happened to be rough then. I was scared the whole
yeah.
time. I
I
knew I was going
bet
to bomb
there's
it the
some
whole time.
serious curves and like,
I
yeah,
got lucky bombing it. Def Brian drove behind me filming it, and it's on.
yeah.
It's on.
I
So that
remember that.
video I think is on
Yeah,
Def Brian's account,
I was
not
No
stoked on
mine.
way.
the hill bomb because yeah, we grew up in that zone. So
So and then Def Brian, we made the 31 flips on his 31st birthday, which is a great
dude,
one. He
remember
did
that
31
too. I was
flips.
tripping out on that.
No way.
So
All right,
So
we'll
dude.
yeah. Should we
Yep.
yep.
end this grind?
Yep.
Yeah, I could
Thanks.
keep going and going, but yeah, we got to end this. It's
Yeah.
9:47, and my kids are going
You're gonna
nuts.
get invaded
I
here
have all
shortly.
these notes of things I was going to talk about, but we can do a
We can do
look at
round
that.
two.
See, I spend a lot of time on airplanes, and I don't just like waste
I'm
my time.
psyched you came
I write
prepared.
I write notes and I read and I study and I watch documentaries about music when I'm on airplanes. And these days I collect records, and around the world I go record shopping,
Oh, right on. Hell yeah.
and I
Yeah, I
love.
was stoked on Instagram for a while. You would play your records. That
That's
was so
mostly in
cool.
the winter time. I do that. I still do,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when it starts getting cold, I'll mostly if I'm
Good
playing a
stuff.
record, I take a picture of what I'm playing and just try
Yeah.
to get it out there. I have dreams of having a record store or
Ooh.
even a vintage booth at the local market where I sell records and skateboards and old tools or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's my
There's
homeless.
the
when I'm retired, my retirement plan, I'm gonna be homeless, living in Tent City, just selling junk. So yeah,
You can live in the basement there. That's not bad.
we work at the Honda Center in
You
Anaheim.
might
I
you might
work
have to
there all the
start renting
time.
some rooms out again upstairs or
Yeah,
something.
there is a Tent City like in the parking lot of the Honda Center
Yep.
in Anaheim, and whenever we're working there, I'm like, that's my retirement community right there. Kind of a joke, but whatever. I mean, I lived like a vagabond for years, and I'm well trained in that. But I have a family and a home, and I'm a
Yep.
dad, and I pay my bills and my taxes, and we're grown up
Doing
now.
doing
That's
good
what I'm
shit,
Hey,
saying.
man.
I'm thinking about a 50th birthday party out there at the Vortex, so that'll be in
Fuck
October.
yeah.
You
Ooh,
guys are invited.
Yeah.
thank
That'd be
you.
rad,
Yeah, that'd
And
be
man.
let's
real fun.
skate. Come over and
Fall time is the
come over and
grass.
skate in the backyard anytime.
Please, yeah. I
I
gotta get
don't.
out more.
I mostly just one person, maybe two. I mostly just skate with my kids these days, my
Yeah.
little kid,
Yeah.
and then like
Yeah. That's what happens.
Rob Dixon's brother, Eddie Dixon.
Yeah. Heck
He
yeah.
comes over and skates, and he watches my dogs when I'm out of town, when we're
Oh,
all out of
sick.
town. But I don't like get on the horn and get on the. I don't like
I
invite.
know,
I
dude.
just
Yeah.
because like if I invite people over, then something happens to the kids, and I gotta go, and then you're skating
Yeah,
by
yeah, yeah.
yourself, and
You got things to
Yeah.
do.
that definitely
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. All
I
right.
didn't see Duff Bryant for a year. He came over as the longest I ever didn't see him, and he's like, "Where you been?" He was like mad at me. I think I'm like, "Sorry, bro, I have kids now." But I try to invite him over at least once a month to skate, and then we mostly just stand around shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
easy stuff to skate, but
It's fun. Fun setup
yeah, I'm
back
putting
there.
a parking block on top of a roller.
Into the pool
Oh,
section? Like
yeah.
the
So the roller has a little more than a roller. It has a parking block on top. So
that'd
I'm
be
trying
fun.
to just
A little slappy
make
situation.
and I I'm I'll take like a month where I don't skate at all, and then I just jump on the board and I skate a lot, and I'm feeling good lately.
Good. Hell yeah.
Hot
yeah.
baths, stretching, the rubber bands. I like if I have any aches and pains, I'll just work it out with the rubber band.
Stuff works. You got to do it.
All right, guys.
All
Sorry, I
right.
know it took. Hey, by the
Dude,
way, can I ask you
doing
one
great.
question?
Yeah.
Who made the intro music for this podcast?
Oh God.
Your intro
I'll have
beat.
to I
This is the
know.
one
Well,
question. One
no,
reverse
we
question on you.
I'll have to send it to you.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a real song that I strategically cut short to hopefully not get caught by
Yeah. And it's worked.
All right.
the
The only
algorithms.
reason I asked because I thought it sounded like a Michael Cozart production, and I thought it
No,
might be
I'd
him.
say so we wanted to call this well, through the process we got to Rusty Bearings, but I brought up the idea Get Thy Bearings, and
Mm.
that's
Oh
that
yeah.
song, Get Thy
Yeah. The
Bearings.
Donovan song?
It's a remake of the Donovan song,
Got it.
but no, it's instrumental.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what that
Nice.
is.
Well, I'd like to say one other thing. These two things.
What do you got?
A lot of people in St. Louis don't know about this issue of Thrasher.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Um, right here it says St. Louis out of control,
Yeah.
skate rock, music mayhem at the farm. This is like 30 years before skate rock was here, but it's funny how I know they don't have anything to do with each other, but it's like
Right now
St. Louis
that's
skate rock at the
amazing.
farm. I just have a love for this issue for so many reasons, but the whole
Yeah.
VP Fair articles in this,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
also the famed Gons pivot at Alcatraz, that ad is in here. That's
Wow.
in this
Yeah.
magazine. So that's why I
That's cool.
really, even
It's
beside all the
heavy.
St. Louis stuff, I always love that Gons pivot at Alcatraz.
That's
Like
rad.
I love front pivots on jersey barriers for myself. It's one of my favorite things. So, and then this was my first
Oh
Thrasher that
wow. Robert Williams cover?
yeah, this is my first Thrasher I ever had, and then I got the subscription to Juxtaposition like right after because I
Yep.
was in art. I was always in art, big in art class and film production and theatrical production in school, and Juxtaposition was a heavy influence on my art in high school. the magazine and Thrasher. Even I would reference Thrasher's articles and stuff and kind of almost copy it, plagiarize Thrasher for my school projects.
Yeah.
In a way, I would. And you ever read that some skateboarder wrote the art of stealing, or stealing is art, or all art is stolen. I forgot what it's called. It's a skate book. Basically,
I don't
all
know.
art is inspired by somebody else, so all art is stolen. And
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, I could go on a rant forever, and I know you guys got stuff to do.
Just change it to 35% so you don't get sued.
Love you guys. I want to say
Yeah.
thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for doing
I
this.
didn't,
And
ex-
awesome.
didn't expect that at all. And thank you to everybody that I've ever skated with and ever inspired me in anything at all, skate or not,
Dude,
everything.
thanks for doing this,
So
man.
life goes full circle like that, and what goes around comes around. Small world of skateboarding.